Alright. There we go. Okay, so now we're
So
live.
you're saying we'll have to go back to everything we just said?
No, I mean,
It
we
took
weren't.
like 5
I mean,
hours?
Good. Man, I'm gonna have to start keeping a transcript log.
It's like you watch a video, it's just silent for 5 hours, and then right at the end, oh, you mean out loud?
Right? Alright, so this is episode 48 now. Jeez, we've done 48 of these. Of Casting the Shadows. Obviously, Star Citizen as always. So we got a roadmap roundup finally. I feel like we haven't got one in a while, or just the last one we got was very small.
Yep.
So let's see, we got the progress tracker. They've added the Misk Odyssey, the Argo Raft, Anvil Spartan, and the Liberator to it.
Oh, just a side note, Mando?
Yeah.
Before you go totally in depth, I don't know if you guys were aware of this. I just recently learned about it. But Jake Acapella is the guy who actually maintains the roadmap. Like, it's his job. That's his baby.
Okay.
And come to find out, he's the only reason I mention it is because he's kind of from the community. He used to do stuff on a channel called Relay. So he's familiar with the community and how we think and, you know, the things we want to see and do and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But so what I found out is when he updates that thing is possibly up to 2 weeks behind what they actually are. Just a FYI.
Gotcha, because he wants to put actual information there, not just here's a thing and then it's just the name. We don't know anything about it.
Right.
Okay.
But so what you're seeing though is up to 2 weeks past tense. So there may be they may be further along on something, or they may have actually removed something or stopped working on something, and we're still seeing that it's on the tracker. So just be aware of that for your listeners.
Right, which explains why they're adding like the Argo Raft and stuff, which is already in game. Like,
right, exactly.
You know they're already there, so apparently this is.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there before you
it's
you got
good.
in depth, so people are aware.
That's good.
I didn't know that. I thought up until this last week, I thought the tracker and the roadmaps were, you know, pretty consistent.
Right.
You
up
were
to date.
thinking again?
I know. Yep.
But yeah,
Luckily,
essentially,
no one else got hurt.
for the progress tracker, it just says, Misk Odyssey, Exploration Capital Ship, previously marked as unannounced, now revealed. Same exact thing for Argo Raft, except small cargo hauler. And the same thing for the Spartan and Liberator, except obviously, troop transport and ship carrier, depending on respectively. But essentially, all those were marked as unannounced, but now they're revealed, and you can see them on the progress track, even though they're already in game. But yeah, that's because it's 2 weeks behind. On the release view of the roadmap, they added the Argo Raft, obviously 315, and Anvil Spartan to 315 because they're now in game. They've updated Jumptown 2.0, a new dynamic event for both lawful and unlawful citizens for Alpha 316. That's updated and added. Mining gadgets has been checked off for Alpha 316, so that's definitely coming. Ship-to-ship refueling has been moved to 317 from 316. Shops and patrons have been removed from the release view altogether, temporarily. Which was, I think, originally set for 315.
So 316 is going to be pretty fucking light here.
Well, I mean, go figure. Look how late they're getting it in. Also, hey to Hillam29 in the chat. Good to see.
Well, you mean someone's actually hearing this live? My God.
Yep. Oh, shocking. Actually, it is shocking. Yeah, so that's just the base roadmap updates there, at least for the progress track and release view. It's a smaller update, but still kind of annoying that they understandable but annoying that they're moving ship-to-ship refueling to 317.
Yep. Not surprised. Disappointed. Not surprised.
And obviously, mining gadgets coming to 316. That is definitely good, but they're getting that down because for some ships like the Prospector, if you want to mine really anything, Or if you have a default mole, like you haven't upgraded the lasers on the mole yet,
Well, or
you're
like a
gonna
rented
need
prospector.
help. Like even having 2 lasers on a giant like 4600 mass rock is gonna be nothing with those default lasers. You're gonna need help, whether it be a mining gadget or consumables. So just anything that increases your chances of doing stuff with the default loadouts, albeit through external help, is definitely a plus, I think, because it means, oh, okay, I have a default mole, but I know my lasers aren't going to be enough to cut it. Literally, I'm going to need either some the consumable components to add to the laser, or I'm going to need the mining gadget so I can EVA, put the gadget on the laser, fine tune it, and start mining.
I just had a thought.
So
Uh-oh.
we're just gonna cower in the bunker.
I don't have an answer for this. I'm curious what your guys' take is on this. Why do you think we don't have any refineries planet side? So like where you can take your refined stuff to get it done, but also to be able to buy those extra components, you know, and mining associated equipment.
Honestly, I'd probably say that the refinery decks, the way they were plotted out, sketched out, and developed was the same team that did the cargo decks. And we're hearing now too, oh hey, cargo decks, oh yeah, we were gonna make this your one-stop shop for like cargo and all this stuff, and now we're making it now that personal hangars are gonna be where you're going for all your cargo and stuff. So obviously some teams are more out of the loop than others because of that. That being
Right.
said, because primarily those cargo decks were station side and pretty much developed solely for stations, in that I'm assuming some planets will have planetary, like in atmosphere, in city, cargo areas and loading docks, and we'll probably will get some refineries at some point. Like for instance, what was it? Levski. Decent
Yeah.
chance we'll see some refineries there. Whereas,
Because I was thinking
say,
like
Lorville.
maybe. What about like some outposts? Because we got those, you know, the R-Corp mining outposts.
Yeah.
To me, it would make sense for them to
I
have
think they
refining
did
capability.
say that when they were talking way back when they were talking more on like the prospector and the bases it could build. So again, this was before even homesteads really being a thing. When we were just talking about like prefab modules and stuff.
Right.
I believe they had talked about there being refineries in Hab. So like you at your personal base that you built with a prospector can go and have a refinery at your base to refine your mine materials. So you know you go and you start mining some of the shit that's on your land plot. You could have a refining outpost right there. So you're doing all this shit, and then you just have your friend come in on their cargo ship, or you come in with your cargo ship, load up your refined material, and sell it to a station, sell it to players, sell it to that guy who's building all the bases with the prospector, or whatever the case might be.
Yep, and it creates more piracy gameplay. Now you got more targets. Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll see it. I'm just curious why they haven't mentioned anything about it yet so far.
Although on the topic of cargo, cargo system refactor has been added to 3.18. So that's that's Q2 next year. Yeah, that's
theoretically.
Yeah, like
Q2, so that's around June next year.
End of June.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I think you mean August, September. Please be realistic.
Yeah, let's be realistic.
I mean, essentially, CIG has a history that when they say a quarter, they mean the end of that quarter.
Essentially, think of it this way: when they say a quarter, they don't mean that quarter. They mean 4 months around that, after that quarter.
Yeah, they mean halfway through the next quarter. Realistically speaking, it'll probably be in PTU end of that quarter. So like quarter 2, it'll be in PTU at like end of July, but it won't actually be in live until like mid to late August, maybe early September if there's issues with it.
Also,
nice. I was gonna say September 31st, but
yeah. Also, the let's see, Area 18 and Hospital, as well as derelict spaceship point of interests, have been checked off for 316, as well as updates for Dying Star map, which is an Arena Commander map, and the Graph-Lev physics rework is supposedly scheduled for 316, as well as the Laser Trip Mine Tier 0. So we'll get Laser Trip Mines.
So on that note, can they go and take all this extra time they've got with 316 and just put in more derelicts?
I mean, hopefully.
Nice.
Let's see, we're also getting...
I want whiskey bottles in the derelicts.
Also,
again.
the Hull C was moved to 318 from 316. Go figure. But it needs the cargo system refactor for it really to work.
Yeah. Where's the Vulture sitting at?
Is also in 318.
I think they said that it moved out of one of the boxes. I forget if it was
It's
gray
in
or
three.
white,
It's in 318 with Salvage Tier 0. So.
But I know just this last week they said that it moved out of one of the box phases. So I think that means that it's going into actual.
I think they said specifically that the Vulture is
like
moved into final art
painting
phase. Yeah, it's moved into final
Sorry?
art phase. It's out of gray box. It's now in final art phase.
So that's good.
Yeah, no, that's great. The Drake Vulture is coming soon, TM. Like legitimately soon, TM. Relatively speaking.
Mm-hmm.
I
think the other big announcement was Jumptown. They said that's a Jumptown 2.0.
Yeah, Jumptown 2.0 is coming.
Guaranteed.
Yeah. Earlier.
I like seeing all the people who are going, it's not the same.
Honestly, who cares at this point?
It's something.
Yep.
Like, it's not the same, but you know what? If it's still fun, who gives a shit?
Yeah. Well, I think Tony Z kind of put the nail in the coffin on people's expectations. They might not realize this yet, but his comment during the last CitizenCon, he basically said he didn't like the original Jumptown because the way it just kept spawning commodity without having any adverse effect.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's against that, and I understand him because he's an economy guy. Like to him, that just
it's like, yeah, where are these boxes coming from? Because they were coming from the Aether. Yeah, they were essentially a bunch of drug crates coming from the Aether. No one was making them; they were just infinitely spawning.
Well, and I like too that he pointed out that hey, during the Jumptown version 2, it's like, you're going to have some of the kind of stuff. Hey, you've got all these drug crates coming around for, up for grabs, and you can sell them and net a whole lot of money. But it's not going to be endless.
Yeah.
It's not going to be all the time because, hey, we're assuming that these aren't just being pulled out of someone's ass here, but someone somewhere is making these.
Yeah.
And they said also, too, that, hey, you might be sitting there going, oh, look at all these drugs. Great, let me go and look these up. And hey, by the way, the actual owners have just come home, and they aren't too pleased seeing you trying to walk off with all their product.
Yep.
Yeah. No.
So
honestly, the only way for them to do like a classic Jumptown thing would be, instead of a little outpost, it's this major storehouse, like this giant storage facility, this warehouse. That's the only way you can.
Crashed Hull E.
Crashed Hull E.
Filled with drugs.
Like, that's really the only way you'd be able to simulate the original Jumptown, realistically using the physicalized inventory and cargo and all that. And you know what? It could still be fun. It would be different, obviously, because it'd be a larger location, not this small little bunker you're essentially, or not even, it's just like a 2-room apartment that you're essentially you're trying to defend. But
an abandoned Hull E or something, they made one quantum jump wrong, ran out of fuel. You find, it's like I'm pissing around in my Carrack and I come across these guys. And, hey, there'd be untold amounts of cargo there. Now I'm like, oh, what's this?
And part of the interior of the ship is still intact, so that's why you have an interior to do some kind of like FPS stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
But anyway, and that's just Jumptown in a nutshell. It's not super easy to replicate. My point. Like, in order to replicate it, you need a bunch of stuff, like using the systems that they want to have, the end game systems they want to have in place. It would be not impossible to replicate, but it'd be quite actually, once all these systems are in place, it would probably be relatively easy for them, but obviously that's an end goal. That's when all these systems are in place. Right now, we don't have those systems. We have like one of them out of 50.
Yeah. I'll be curious to see how they rotate it. Like, is it just going to rotate around, Crusaders moons, like from Yellow to Selen to Daymar?
I don't know.
Or are they going to rotate it through all the different?
I think it might be every celestial body, because I remember seeing when they were showing off gameplay footage and when they were talking about it, I thought I saw what looked like microtech, like the surface of microtech. So
Okay. So you think they'll actually do it? They might rotate it down to actual.
I think they might.
Main planetary systems, not just the moons.
I think not just the moons. I think they want to keep it moving, so this way everyone, no matter where you are, what time you're playing, get to play.
I'd like to see that.
Because it does seem like they're trying to do make it an event like Ninetales or Xenothreat, but obviously less intense in terms of what's going on and what's stressing the server.
Yeah.
And this way, if you keep it moving around and stuff, everyone, no matter where you are, gets to play. At least I'm hoping that's the case. I could be completely wrong. It could just be localized to Crusader and Crusader's moons, or Hurston and Hurston moons, or whatever it is.
I'd just like to see it get planet side. When I say planet side, I mean the main,
The planets.
not just the moons.
Right.
Just because it's.
Well, you're not going to be able to do
the only
Orison.
The only time you're seeing people go planet side is either to go to the major landing zone or to do the bunker missions, and that's it. Like, other than that, there's almost no reason.
And the only time you have that, well, yeah, like honestly, and that's only with Hurston and Microtech. The only time you go to ArcCorp is go to the landing zone to go shopping, or just to kind of land at one of the random other cities like Area 11 or something, and just check out the views.
But that's you just deciding I'm going to do that.
Like, there's no reason to go. Is my
yeah.
There's nothing gameplay wise. It's kind of just I'm exploring. I'm just running around doing whatever I want right now.
Well, on that note, it would be interesting. It's like, oh hey, Jumptown version 2 is up. Go find it.
Yep.
Oh, we're not just gonna go and tell you where it is.
Right. It's gonna be like, okay, it might be on.
Go out there, and if you find it, and if you're first, good on you. If you're coming late to the party, bring some friends, bring some guns.
You know what I'd like to see? I know they don't have the mechanics in for it yet, but eventually, I'd also like to see AI competition. So have certain AIs that have certain standings that are also trying to get in there, so you don't know whether or not you're fighting an AI or a player for Jumptown. Like, have AI actually.
No, I fully agree, and that should be across the board. Hey, you just found a really.
Well, it depends, because if it's not a bunker
deposit. Hey, someone else just, Terrapin just came by, scanned it, found it. Their friends are on their way now with a whole bunch of moles or prospectors.
Are they AI or those players? Yep.
Well, last we checked on, and remember during the October monthly studio report, they said that they were working on AI pathing and mapping for essentially celestial terrain locomotion, so they can navigate around the surface of planets and moons. Hopeful they need to actually have that tech working in order for that to be feasible, though.
Yep.
But
and you also need AI actually like flying ships to and from different,
and be able to then get out of the ship, and
But
like the animations are all there.
The idea was when you were saying like you got to go find it, like that's where I might I don't blow up that AI piracy ship, because maybe I want to follow him and he leads me to it.
Right.
Like that would be interesting gameplay.
Or you can at least with the game's current state, you can at least do it's you get there, there's AI there, and they're like, who the hell are you? Kill him, blast him, because you're not supposed to be there.
Or have some AI flying around upper atmosphere of the location.
Or having some dogfighting, like they're just patrolling the area, and you're like, what the hell's going on over there? And you fly in, and they'll just start ramming.
Especially. One thing I want to start seeing once we have more of this planetary data in, so that NPCs can be flying and moving around, in atmosphere and on planets and stuff. I want to be seeing a lot more stuff to where, hey, there's a group of like for example, those the missions in caves where there's like some bad guys total up there, or maybe even maybe they're good guys or whoever. There's a group in a cave. I want to see stuff to where every now and again you might go and have a Cutlass Black goes and shows up, and some people get on and some people come off. Oh, it's the crew rotation. Or an Anvil Spartan rolls up. Some people get on, some people come off.
Or a Nova
maybe they're
tank.
patrolling, maybe it's just the next work crew, whatever the case might be. Because that would really, because one thing too that's always bugged me, and I'm sure it's bugged plenty of others, is like, oh, hey, for example, hey, you're going to go clear out security post Korea. Cool. Where the hell did all these NPCs come from? Because there ain't a fucking ship in sight.
Well, they came out of that closet, Cam.
Oh, yeah, and I get that, and it's like if
Yeah,
you're attacking
I
a
hear ya.
position and it's assumed that the position was not already held.
Right.
Sure, spawn codes are fine. You know, they're coming from deeper in the facility. Sure, you know, there's some amount of suspension of disbelief. They're absolutely
Yeah.
Right, like you're
I'm
going
glad.
into enemy territory already. Like it's already enemy territory. You're just going in
Yeah.
to wipe it out. Yeah.
Yeah, you're storming an enemy base. They're going to be deeper in the base and they're coming out at you. But otherwise, you know, if reinforcements come up, where are they coming
Yeah.
from? I want to see, and that way it's like, oh, hey, you know, hey, an Anvil Spartan rolled up. Cool. Well, my buddy was camping on a fucking hill nearby with a railgun.
Just
You know,
pops a few.
there goes
yeah.
that Ursa.
Yeah. Well,
And that's the
I
thing. It's
also
like
the idea
because
of
it
the
will reward
gameplay.
you, or punish
Hold on,
you
Hold on,
for.
Nando.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
I just like the idea of the gameplay that also it's helping you if you're willing to do the recon time to like what is their cycle? Do they show up every couple hours? Like the reinforcements? And maybe if you catch them at the end of a cycle just before reinforcements show up, maybe the AI is just a little bit tired, so their reaction time is just a slight bit slower in your process
Yeah.
because they're bored out of their minds. Like
I love
I'm on
that. They
board with
got
that.
some debuffs or something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like similar how the player will have debuffs depending on their hydration levels and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, but I was saying like it also going to reward or punish the player depending on how they approach the mission. So you know, for instance, yeah, Cam, let's say we go do this bunker mission. We arrive in a Cutlass, we park off, and we're going to do the rest of the way on foot. And one of us decides, okay, we're going to, you stay near the ship and watch the cave entrance. I'm going to go in. And then you go in, and I'm like, okay, oh crap, Cam, an Anvil just, Ballista just pulled up, or Spartan, or whatever. And so this way, we're rewarded because we planned for someone actually entering the cave versus, say, another crew that just goes in, both team members go into the cave, and then all of a sudden when they're exiting, they're getting rushed by a fresh wave of reinforcements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Down.
So there's that risk
The
reward there.
dream. We have a dream.
Hey, I'm still hoping someday we'll get the ability to rappel off the back of a Cutlass Black.
It does
Yeah.
have the hooks on the end.
Yeah.
I want to be able. Yeah, I want to be able to fast rope.
Yeah, absolutely. Just okay, we're in. Go, go, go.
Yep.
Also, we got a list of sprints that they started and concluded. So they started the fire extinguishers development, as well as probability volume encounter density refactor. Which
Did you notice that when they're showing the inside of the raft, right next to the bunk bed, there's a fire extinguisher mounted on the wall?
yeah,
Yeah.
Personal weapon.
I was thinking that like it's in the Mercury Starwinder, right next to the garage door, or the the door to the cargo bay.
Yep.
Fire extinguisher right there. It's like someone tries to get on there. Whap, whap,
Yep.
whap.
yep.
And then when you're down, I spray you with it so you suffocate.
Just
It's a
keep doing
dual-purpose
little
weapon.
spurts. Just keep doing
Yep.
little spurts. Just to
It's
make
both
sure
lethal
they
and
really
non-lethal.
die.
Hell yeah, I'm down with it. Non-lethal, right?
and lethal over time.
Well, I mean, for the authorities, when you're going into the green zone, you're like, that's just a fire extinguisher, man. That's non-lethal.
Ignore
You
the
do.
blood.
You just have a fire extinguisher mounted on your back like a gun. It's like, okay, go ahead. Guess he's like a fire nut or something.
I'm a fireman.
Bar fight ensues. You take out the fire extinguisher, bash people over the head, spray them when they're down.
Yep, I'm down with it. Or you just carry around a hammer. You like lay it on the
I
ground.
want my shovel.
Kind of aim it towards them, and then you just hit it, like hit the head off, so it goes shooting off like a torpedo.
I want my shovel, damn it. I want to smack people with a shovel. This way you can knock them out, and then you can bury them afterwards.
Huzzah!
Yeah, we also got an unannounced. They
ahead.
also announced an unannounced vehicle sprint report, and a refinery
Another
ship.
vehicle. Imagine
An announced vehicle. We got sprints concluded. Aceto Station, Aegis Redeemer,
Actually,
Anvil Spartan.
sorry.
What?
Quick interrupt.
Go.
I think Infra Runners, who's a Australian-based Star Citizen streamer group, I think they're saying that there's an expectation of a single refinery ship, I believe, still hidden somewhere.
Okay.
So they're that could potentially be what they're talking about. Don't know though. Just want to throw that
Well,
in.
they have refinery ships and unannounced vehicles separately.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that they had announced their refinery ship. So it has its own card.
Yeah, you got
Okay.
4 cards here.
Never
One's
mind.
fire extinguisher, probability, volume encounter, refinery ships, and unannounced vehicle.
Oh, gotcha.
And then
Okay,
obviously
never mind then.
the sprints concluded. A lot of it's stuff that's already in game, like the raft, Spartan, Redeemer. We also got Area 18 hospital interior location. So the obviously that's scheduled for 316, so that means that they included that work. Chapter 13 for Squadron 42. Civilian NPC movement improvements. We've got DGS digital game shard mesh node. DNA head texture updates. ECUS improvements. Enemy chapters. Enemy characters. Enemy ships. Hybrid service, Maya Lifelink, a lot of back-end technology, and persistent hangars, mining gadgets, physical damage and breakability, pyro spacescaping, replication layer, entity authority, stops and patrons. There's a lot of stuff that they've apparently concluded sprint work on. That's good. And this, I believe, was from the progress tracker. So stuff added versus stuff. We also got the ISC last week, where they talked about the Odyssey. You guys watch ISC yet, or no?
Yep.
Yeah, there was a lot of good info.
Mm-hmm.
I think
like
some people might have been a little
Killer.
disappointed.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, well, so obviously they talked about the Odyssey ship from MISC, which is the first MISC ship in 5 years, designed for multi-purpose, non-combat roles. It incorporates Xi'an tech such as levitating elevators. Front of the ship contains mining and tractor beam combo, 2 unmanned turrets for defense. Interior is split into 3 levels. Top deck contains refinery. You can mine and refine on board. Middle deck contains the bridge and crew suite. And we've got lower deck has the hangar, medical bay, and cargo room, an obvious competitor to the Carrack.
I'd like to throw a caveat in there.
Oh.
So one of the questions in the community that's kind of been going round and round since the Odyssey came out is, they specified Quantanium in a way that left it open to interpretation whether or not it's going to be able to mine other things.
Mm-hmm.
And so you got a lot of people who, based on their own personal interpretation, are saying yes it will, and other people who are saying no it won't. And apparently, since the initial announcement of the Odyssey, they still have not come out, even though they've been directly asked to clarify whether or not it's going to be able to mine everything or just Quantanium for the jump drive, and they have not answered that question. They keep kind of sidestepping it. So just that might be a potential concern for people who haven't bought and are thinking about buying it. That's something that you may want to wait until there's a definitive answer on. Not saying it's one or the other. I don't know, but that's just that might be a potential deal breaker for somebody considering buying that ship. So food for thought.
Yeah, that's worth pointing out. They also mentioned on the sprint report, such as the Drake Vulture moving to final art phase. Work continues on the hull A and C. They're currently in gray box, final art phase respectively. Including experimenting with screens for tractor beams. Because they actually have to get UI for tractor beams working, otherwise how do you...
Yeah.
Also, they started working on size 1 through 3 tractor beams. So they'll be essentially a hard point, like a weapon, so you can put them on any ship, from what they showed.
Well, the problem is utility mounts, just like several other features such as modularity, have been these things that have kind of gone in and out of vogue among ship designers. So you have a year or two where ships and the developers are going, no, that's not a thing. Just ignore it, that's not a thing. And then ships that might have gotten one don't. And then you'll have another couple of years of ships go by. Oh yeah, no, it is a thing. It is a thing. You know, throw it where you think it would be good. Oh, okay. We'll start throwing them around again.
Hairpin.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, no, because it's got a huge utility mount on it, but no one knows where it's actually located on the ship. Because if you look at the exterior of the ship, there's no actual like mount space unless you take the sensor dish off, which
Honestly,
again,
the Titan's gotten so fucked over in so many ways.
We can
Yep.
go on
Like,
for hours on the
There's been a
Terrapin.
good number of ships that have been like that.
yeah. But as far as the actual like tractor beams, I imagine, this is just me spitballing, but I imagine it's going to be something kind of like getting in an unmanned turret. Like you sit in
Yeah.
a seat and then your screen is going to become like the view from the gun, you know, from the tractor beam gun, and you just kind of move it around, grab your thing, pull it in, turn it, lift it, shove it in, lock it down, go on to the next one. That's my guesstimate of first iteration at least.
And they have a tractor beam on the 315 here.
Yeah, and I believe
315P.
the Drake Cutlass Black was supposed to originally have a tractor beam as
Yes,
well.
it was.
Yeah, it's still listed as having one.
But
Supposedly.
where is it on the model?
Don't ask questions.
Sorry, my
Don't
bad.
know.
I will go to my corner.
Right, now stay in there until we say otherwise. Let's see, the Mist Starfarer got minor improvements to prepare it for refining gameplay. A more in-depth interior update is also being planned, which many people are happy about because I keep hearing people complain about how confusing the internal layout of the...
Well, just for those listening, realize that CIG is on record as saying they designed the Starfarer to be an FPS
map.
internal map. So
Yeah.
it wasn't designed to be a ship. It was designed to be a shoot 'em up gallery.
And it serves
That's
its
the
purpose
problem.
very well.
Yeah, other than those stairway that you fall through.
Oh, you mean
When you're
that
going
that
up to
one
the
that
crew
the
level?
barnacle ladder? Essentially, every time you go near that ladder, it just grabs you
Oh,
like a
God.
barnacle from Half-Life. Yeah.
Yeah, that too.
The RSI Scorpius is an early white box phase, which I think is pretty cool. I mean, I know a lot of people are kind of iffy on the fighter, but I mean, the fact that it's making progress so soon already. It was announced
Yeah.
what, earlier this year? Already in white box.
Yeah, kind of surprised by that.
Yeah.
Like, because usually their method of operation is either it comes out flight ready, like they announce it and here it is, buy it, or hey, this is in concept, and then like 2 years later you might see it. So
And what the hell did you
this is an
send me?
oddball. Makes you
Speaking of
wonder if it's
concept,
being sent for being put out quickly for
Squadron.
Squadron 42.
Probably.
Speaking of concepts, if you look in the chat here, the unreleased fourth variant of the Hercules platform.
To be honest, I was kind of disappointed with what they did with the M2. I was fully expecting them to go more of the gunship version, you know, with like the C1, the AC-130
Like side-mounted
Spectres.
guns on it.
Yeah, yeah.
Honestly, I really hope we do get something like that, in that, because like even the Redeemer could have gone this way, because like I like the idea of making it so, because right now as it is with almost any pretty much any ship out there, regardless of if it's a fighter, if it's a gunship, if it's a whatever, the way the guns draw is they're all aimed to be pointing forward of the ship. And especially with being in space, where now we have 3 dimensions, it'd be really interesting to see chip design where it's like, hey, especially where, hey, pilot, you are a pilot. You
Yep.
are not a trigger man, especially on the larger ships. That's what they say they're going for, is that
Essentially, give us
hey,
some
if you're a
B-37
helmsman, you're a
style.
helmsman.
They'll essentially give us some
So-
B-37 style turrets on the side of the ship.
Yeah, I think because I think that makes a lot more tactical sense, and it also too is it's going, hey, look, you want to promote that team gameplay? There you
Yep.
go, right there, because your pilot has to be communicating to your gunners and going, hey, do I need to adjust my aim? Yeah, adjust, rotate right 30 degrees. Angle downward 20 degrees. Okay, hey, now my gimbaled gun is back in range of the enemy here, as I'm kind of just strafing along the edge of the battlefield here, trying not to get anyone actually on my ass.
Yeah, just
There you go.
circling the outer perimeter.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think there would be a lot of versatility, especially something like the size of the Hercules. I think would be a good heavy weapon platform, something that would kind of fill the role of almost what the Retaliator has become with its ridiculous amount of turrets.
Yeah, and I like the idea that maybe you only use ballistics with that style of platform, and that's why it's the Herc, because your cargo space is taken up with actual ammunition to be able to sustain
Yeah.
a long-term, cycle.
Yeah, it's like, hey, you might be using size 5 guns, but you've got several thousand rounds of ammo for it, because all that internal is ammo storage. Like,
Exactly.
yes.
Yep. I'm
I
down
would
with
love
that.
Either way. Yeah.
Yeah.
There
Plus,
you go.
I mean, I like the idea
Yeah.
of switching up the roles a little bit, where the
I was
pilot
muted
isn't
too.
the star, it's the gunner, going, hey, dude, just fly your circle. Okay.
Yeah.
Like Dan was saying, give me more left tilt. I need down. Okay, hold that. Hold this track. That
Right.
changes up the
Or
concept
even-
of who's in charge of that ship.
Or even too, and I do like what you said in that the pilot is not the star, because with pretty much every single ship here, it's always the pilot is the star. The pilot is the star. You as the pilot, you are the Han Solo. You are the Admiral Akbar. It's all about you. And they're really, especially if you want team-based gameplay, we got to move away from that. You got to be going and promoting these gunners, these engineers. You need to be promoting your Scotties. Hey, I'm giving her all the power she's got, but our engine is gonna, our reactor is gonna go fucking critical in 1 minute.
Yeah,
You better,
need to
whatever
fly
plan
out
you
of there.
have, you better be done in 60 seconds, because after that, I'm shutting her down.
Yeah. No, as I
But
said, like
Scotty, I'm in the fight. You can't pull me out of the fight. Hey, I'm the engineer. This is my engine. We're done. Shut it down.
In 60 seconds, we're done. Whether we've won, whether we're running, or whether we've already died.
it's either we pull out now so we can fight another day, or we're dead in the water. Yeah. And I muted myself earlier, so I apologize. I said B-17. I meant B-17 before because World War II. Just give me my freaking space bomber, right? Like my World War II style. Except instead of bombs, more just a gunboat essentially. Like you have the Retaliator, right? But again, all focus. Honestly, with the Retaliator, the pilot controls the
he's still
torpedoes.
Torpedoes, so he's still the
Well,
star
no,
of the show.
He's got torpedoes. He's got pilot-controlled guns, and one of the turrets.
The Retaliator doesn't have pilot-controlled guns.
There's no one in there. So
Yeah,
the Retaliator doesn't have guns.
Like, from the perspective of which platforms have which roles, it to me the Retaliator, even though it has those turrets, it's still very much the pilot show.
Yeah, because it's like you're the one firing the torpedoes.
Yeah.
And also, it doesn't have pilot guns.
The only one I would
No, the Retaliator has no pilot guns, only turrets.
The only one I would say that comes close to it right now is the Hammerhead, but still, I mean, we need more. More. We need
more ships like the Hammerhead. Honestly.
Sorry.
We need more ships like the Hammerhead. The Hammerhead just has some measly missiles.
That's what I'm saying. Is the Hammerhead is the only one that has the play style we're talking about, where the pilot isn't, the star. Like, that's why we need more ships like that. That the pilot is there to support the other people.
Although that being said, though, what's the ship with all the turrets?
Retaliator?
No, meant to be anti-fighter.
The Hammerhead?
Yeah, Hammerhead. Completely slipped my mind. Even with the Hammerhead, though, with those missiles, like, the pilot is still... And part of the problem, too, is that with that being, hey, I'm the pilot, hey, I'm controlling the missiles, that means that in engagements, I'm going to be facing the enemy nose on, generally speaking. Especially if I'm like, well, hey, screw my 6 turret gunners.
Yeah.
I'm trying to aim my missiles. Screw all those guys. And it does not promote that, again, being just that, hey, your job. Now, that being said, a Hammerhead just trying to go and fire around missiles is not going to be lasting very long, especially in a combined arms environment.
Yeah, you're just not flying your ship smart.
No, absolutely not. But you're going to piss off your turret gunners. You're like, hey, look, if we're going to do, it took us an hour to get everyone together and get this mission rolling here, and now you're kind of just pissing us off, pissing us away in the wind while you're trying to go and fire off your missiles. Like, come on, man.
We're all hanging out in the galley now. It's up to you. You better win this.
Yeah, honestly, that'd be hilarious. Like, hey, where's everyone at? It was all you. You said you got this, and I believe in you.
Yep. Yeah, I'd like to see more ships with that variance of who's critical, who's the critical factor, and to add a little realism to it, in the Navy, the captain might be in charge, but it's engineers that are still running the engines down below who are the ones who are like, okay, we will give you what you're asking for until we can't, and then we're gonna say no.
Yeah, I mean, he's just the guy giving the orders. You got the helmsman controlling the boat. You got the guys controlling the gun. Like, everyone has their own jobs doing something else, but you don't have one guy doing everything or most things.
Yeah. So, but anywho, I think we killed this.
Well, we got a white box. Look at the Banu Merchantman, a fan favorite of our citizenships, to say the least. But it's from
popular.
concept to
it's
white box. Finally.
Sorry.
No, just that it's finally in white box after all these years.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
it on the
glad to see
screen.
it coming, but it's not my favorite. I
No,
think it's going to be
How dare you?
a game loop that is not of my interest.
yeah, I mean it's the trading cargo hauling stuff. That's not my thing. I've tried it. It's not for me.
Well, not just that. To me, it's just going to be a huge pirate siren. Like
Yeah.
you own that thing, you're going to be constantly being attacked unless you hire people, and then
Like us.
because you're hiring people, that means you need to make money, and then you're not necessarily playing the game you want to play. You're playing the game to make money to pay those people. That's just my take on it.
Details.
Got some early white box shots of the interior though. Like joke instead of that blocky, like here's it'll actually look like inside. It's got a what did he say it was? It wasn't ED209.
That's a turret, not an ED209.
There we go. Okay, so apparently the Banu Merchantman turrets look like ED209 from RoboCop. I mean, the interior looks good. I mean, it's an alien ship. That's really the only interest I have in it. Aside from that, it's like I'm not going to be using it. I don't have one. I'll probably be on other people's, just to see how it is and all that. But yeah, as you said, just the whole trading and merchant stuff is not my game. So.
It will be.
Oh, well.
Well, for me, it's not so much that it's the trading and cargo. Like I guess for me, yeah, cargo definitely not. Trading maybe a little bit, but I think of it more as like on a small scale where you can slip in and out of places. To me, the merchantman is just going to be such a big thing that it draws too much attention for the type of gameplay that I would want. So like to me, the Star Runner or maybe one of the hulls is going to be a much better kind of
something more
slip
common.
in unnoticed. Sorry?
Something more common.
Yeah. And doesn't draw attention and therefore, constantly get you in trouble with pirating.
Also, the best news we've gotten is Raftron, though, that's for sure.
It's coming, I swear.
Uh-huh.
I love how they show 5 rafts, but then you look at it and it's like each limb is made of 2 rafts.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a Disco Lando creation.
Yeah,
so
I know.
come on.
The torso alone, I think, is made of 4. Raftron, defender of the persistent universe.
So does that make it a civilian-run thing, or is it an advocacy I can't say the word right now.
Advocacy?
Advocacy asset?
Don't ask questions.
Sure.
UEE Navy? Marine?
Don't ask questions.
I'm not asking. I'm making statements now because I'm following your orders.
I don't know. All I know that it is silly and yeah.
So one of the things that I thought was interesting with the live chat was when they asked about is anything being done with the Star Runner, and the only answer they got was no.
Which was, I believe, the only definitive no that was
Yeah,
given.
exactly.
Which, damn. Okay.
Yeah.
See how it is.
That was a beatdown.
Huh.
That was it. That was John Crew from the top rung, elbow to the forehead.
You saw the pain on his face though when they started talking about the Endeavor.
Yeah. I can totally understand it, but at the same time, like, so on a personal level, totally get it, and I'm on board. But at the same time, there's a part of me that says, hey man, you're the head of vehicle production. I don't want you personally invested in pros or cons of a ship. You know, does that make sense? You know?
Yeah, no,
So,
I fully agree. Just because I feel like we definitely have gotten times where
Because that results in the
there's
ship
some
being
amount of
all
like bias
pros.
Yeah.
involved, and there should not be, and shit's getting just kind of mixed around just because one guy's like, yeah, I like this, and I don't like this, and it's like, now, I mean, that being said, given that this is just Chris Roberts' dream project, to a degree, you're going to have that at the top anyway. But at the
At the
same
top, I'm okay.
point, yeah, at the top, it's like, okay, that's the creative hand keeping everything in line here, not just one person who is going, well, I like this vehicle, I don't like this vehicle, and there isn't any further decision making, there isn't any further discussion on it, just, well, I like this, I don't like this, and that's final.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this should be more open to discussion, at least internally. And again, we're making assumptions here that
Yep.
maybe we shouldn't be. But at the same point, from the face of it that we're seeing, it definitely seems like just if John Crew likes a ship, or if John Crew doesn't like a ship, hey, great for you, or hey, sucks to be you. That's it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, he doesn't like it, that means we get a lesser ship because of it.
Yeah.
I
And it's like,
think
and that
it's
should not be the case.
what it should be is I guess what I'm trying to nail down from my own personal perspective when I say part of me goes, yeah, hey, like I'm happy to hear his personal opinion. The other side of it is because he's the head, what I don't want is any possible interpretation of bias being a decision maker. Whether it is or not, that's behind the scenes, but it just shouldn't be allowed for us as a community to even consider the idea that, well, John Crew doesn't like that, so we're not going to get it. Like that's
No,
the
absolutely.
the thing.
And I fully agree. That is the issue behind it, is that the worry is that you have some guy who just goes, well, I like this, I don't like this, and that's it, not because of any kind of balance or gameplay thing, but just because, well, that's how he felt that day.
Yeah, exactly.
And I feel like that has been the case with several ships that have gotten kind of screwed over, at least in some ways, because
I
I
think
never
that's
liked
the
this idea.
Terrapin, to be honest.
Absolutely, no, absolutely.
Feels that way.
How it got put in an extremely high price point on it, it's been pretty much utterly abandoned since the get-go. Absolutely.
Yeah. And it all happened kind of in it because the ship came out. It was given to us at that price point with a certain write-up in it, and then after John Crew moves in and takes over, all of a sudden you just see this nosedive of the Terrapin and what its capabilities are and how it's being supported as far as like its flow of upkeep, behind the scenes kind of stuff. And I can't put my finger on any one specific thing, but just kind of like a culmination of a
whole.
lot of little things. I have that feeling that John Crew doesn't like the Terrapin. That's
Yeah,
that's
no, absolutely.
purely my personal.
And
We could be completely wrong, and it could have nothing to do with John Crew, but it does feel that way from where we're sitting.
Well, and part of the issue is that it's like, if an employee likes or does not like a ship, that's perfectly fine. But the issue is that it definitely seems in some cases that it's not only that they like or dislike a ship, but that they are using their position to fudge the scales on some ships and lift them on others, and that we're getting an inherent imbalance being built into ships from the get-go. That, oh, well, the ship should be specifically hollowed this way. Oh, the ship should specifically have all these features. I mean, for example, look at, for example, the Banu Merchantman. I feel like it was a developer favorite, and that's why it's getting, oh, hey, we're going to shove this in there. Oh, we're going to shove that in there. Oh, we're going to put this in there. Oh, we're going to put that in there. It seemed that they just wanted to throw everything in there in the kitchen sink. Compare that to other ships. No. We don't want any one ship to do everything. It seems
Yeah.
like they're, look at the Odyssey. It's going to do this. It's going to do that. It's going to have a great huge hangar so you can have a bunch of other ships that can use stuff in there. Okay, but then you go and you look at other equivalent ships. Hey, look at the Polaris. It's got a hangar. What more do you want? Geez, stop bugging us. Okay. It definitely seems like there's some developer favorites that get the gold pass, and other ones that they're like, we'll work on this begrudgingly.
Like
Yeah.
the Redeemer.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Well, I'd say look at the Gladius, because everything that you've seen done to the Gladius was actually supposed to have been done to the Terrapin. Because the Terrapin, they came out and said that was going to be the first ship that they were going to use as a model for all the extra components that were going to be needed, i.e., like what you see on the Gladius with the armor rack that slides out and the personal inventory boxes and stuff. Like that was all supposed to be done on the Terrapin, but all of a sudden, nope, we're going to do it to the Gladius instead.
Well, I mean, to be fair with that, I can definitely see that the Gladius being a Squadron 42 based ship, I give them some amount of leeway with that, just because, if this is going to be the hero ship for the most part of Squadron 42,
Solaster as Terrapin Hater, number 67 on list.
Not the list.
No, they get to bring it all back around. I just, it's part of me was like, okay, cool, glad to see John Crew speaking his mind, but at the same time, he's the head. I kind of don't want to see him doing that. The other guys, like Disco, I don't care what he says, because he's not in the pipeline.
He's not directing the direction of ships and going, this feature makes it in, this feature doesn't make it in, etc.
Yeah. So he can. I'm perfectly okay, and I would actually be interested in hearing more about like what he does and doesn't like, because that's interesting. I'd also like to hear it
because
from
Disco's
other
a personality, and that's his job.
Yeah, I just don't want the ship team talking negatively about
Yeah.
Honestly,
no,
and honestly,
it's like
honestly, it should be either they're talking positively about anything or just be neutral, like because any other way you go about it, it's just not going to end. Because either you're favoring ships and you're kind of treating other ships less than favorable, or you're just talking. I don't know, maybe just being positive all the time would be good. I say just go neutral. Like, okay, for this ship we're doing X, Y, Z. Whether you like it or not. Like, okay, for this ship we're doing X, Y, Z. Like, there's no, because I don't like it, I'm not doing this part. It's just no, we're just doing X, Y, Z because that's what Chris wants us to do with this ship, and that's our job.
Yeah. Well, I think we killed this one.
We kill a lot of things.
Add it to the trophy room.
Strike it on the side of the ship. Yeah, so that's
the other stuff they talked about, like there's some tidbits here and there, but I was just kind of like, okay, cool. Like, to me, it was a good show in the sense, if the bar, I guess my bar was, it was a good show because it didn't suck, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we only get 2 shows a week now.
Yeah, Inside Star Citizen and Star Citizen Live.
Like, we used to be getting what?
We had one every
5
Tuesday,
videos?
one every Thursday, one every Friday, and that was it.
Well, I mean, way back in the day, you
Well,
had
way back in the day, we had, I think, one every week. Or, I know, once, 5 a week, whatever it was, yeah. We're talking about Star Citizen Live. Data.
Okay.
Yeah, we used to get a whole
I gotta
lot
go
more.
now.
Have fun, don't die.
So, shall we argue about the Odyssey? No.
I was going to say, I promise I'll behave this time.
Burn, 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 burn.
No, I think we're all in a mood.
Last week, you think?
I try not to. It hurts.
But yeah, yeah. So I mean, the show was good, because it didn't suck, and so far, to me, that makes like the third show in a row that's actually been pretty good, pretty consistent on delivering information. So I hope that trend continues.
Hopefully. I am curious though as to what the plan is with some ships that haven't gotten touched in a while, like the Terrapin.
I've got an opinion about this, based off of what they just announced with the 600. I think kind of going back to what we talked about last show, I do think we're going to start seeing reworks of some of these ships, internally, at least, if not in like size, maybe a little expansion for some of these, but because of what they're doing with the 600, I think we are going to see some internal reworks. I think it has to happen because of the size of the components and the pieces and parts that need to be in different ships. I think they got to grow.
Yep, some of them probably do. They want to do a redesign of the interior on the Starlift, or not Lifter,
Starfare.
Starfare, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
But these aren't full reworks like what happened with the Cutlass. These are like small reworks, like such as just the interior and stuff. So.
Well, yeah, like they don't want to do the outside work on Starfare, but
yeah,
when they do the interior redesign, I imagine it's going to be completely different.
I hope it's better in terms of like ship navigation. I mean, that being said, I do love the current Starfare design interior-wise.
That was their first large ship, was it not?
It was.
It was.
Yeah.
And it was also designed. It wasn't designed to be. It wasn't designed for ship efficiency. It was designed for FPS. We were talking about this earlier before you showed up, Data.
Oh. Okay.
But so that's also one of the reasons the interior is so wonky, is because it wasn't. Their idea was, hey, let's go on this ship and shoot them up. Like that was the design parameter.
Yeah. Well, not only that. I mean, that was. You can see how far they've come with ship design just in general over time as they've iterated and become more proficient with their design skills. It's night and day, old ships to new ships.
Yep.
I do think those ships that they do decide need that interior reworking, I think there's a chance that you will see some minor changes externally. But I don't think there'll be anything major. Like I don't think the Herald is gonna go from its symmetry back to asymmetrical, which was what it was originally designed to be. Like,
yeah.
But I do think the Herald's gonna grow in width, length, and maybe even in height a little bit. I'm not talking like, it's not going from 12 meters to 30 meters.
Right, it's not going from like here's a size 1 ship that's now becoming a size 3.
It's a Starfare now.
Yeah.
Starfare.
I think like the Avenger needs that because it doesn't have any components right now.
Yep.
And just the cockpit of it just looking at it, it feels so outdated. Just in how the MFDs are, the control surfaces on there.
Yeah, and it's so tight that I don't think the AI would be able to navigation path its way in there.
Absolutely. Speaking of that, the Ursa cockpit, that's going to need a total rework.
Yep.
There's trouble navigating it for players.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'd really like to see them stop using bounding boxes for the interaction and make it the actual like physical contours of the item.
You're talking about inside the ship, the controls?
So like when you walk up to a seat, like
right.
it, instead of there just being a kind of unknown bounding box around it and you're kind of looking around, have it where when you look at the actual seat itself, that's when you get the interaction capability.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
No matter what angle you're coming at.
Yeah. So you're not doing that. Well, am I just to the right of it enough that I can find the bounding box? I don't know.
Yeah. Am I too close? Am I too far away?
Yeah.
Do I need to look up to the side?
Yep.
Yeah.
Cha cha cha.
I'll have to go behind the seat, not in front of it. Also, this week in Star Citizen, we've got let's see, Tuesday they're doing a Lore Makers community questions. Obviously, we got the subscriber stuff. Wednesday they're doing a Misc Odyssey Q&A, so maybe they'll answer the questions regarding what fuel it can take, what mining it can do, spontaneum or other mining or both type thing. So maybe then on Wednesday we'll learn more. And obviously, Inside Star Citizen for Thursday and Friday Star Citizen, as well as a subscriber vault update. Average week in Star Citizen.
What did now that we started a new month, what are you guys getting for your subscriber flare?
Armor.
I'm not sure it's switched over yet because
No, I think that's what the subscriber comm link on Tuesday is for.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I think that's what's happening tomorrow. Tomorrow they're going to reveal what you're getting.
Okay. Good to know.
It's going to be a paint job.
If it's the
number.
ships, we don't know. But if it's the actual subscriber player, it's going to be the new armor sets.
Yes, the Marasov, which I already saw someone wearing last night.
Well, I mean, they've got a couple of different variants in.
No, this was
game,
not.
as
This was
well
not the
as-
default. This was a yellow, like a beigeish variant.
I'm not aware of that being available anywhere.
No, I think that's a subscriber flare.
Yeah, but so and that's also too the that helmet you saw like in a screenshot a while back. That's the subscriber helmet.
Just for trying to bring up the image. Subscriber flare.
Wasn't trying to create controversy.
Who?
Dare you?
You?
By bringing up the flare.
No, I'm just trying to see what it is. Like, okay, I was thinking of a different suit. They're doing a Caldera suit, right? For subscriber flare this month?
I have no idea.
Not in Caldera, Pembroke, whatever it is, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the Pembroke armor this month, right?
Pembroke armor was last month.
Oh, then what the hell is this month?
It's
The Marasov one, right? The new heavy one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This month is December.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, if you're on Earth, yes.
Yeah.
I feel like November just freaking started. Now it's already December. Yeah, so we're gonna find that out tomorrow. All the subscriber stuff. All right. Well, anything else? I think we covered all this
Pineapples.
Star Citizen.
Yeah, I can't think of anything.
I know the servers are
I don't
still
know.
pretty unstable, having played a lot last night.
Daddy, you got anything that's burning a hole in your head?
No, not really. Not for Star Citizen, or not for anything in general, really.
That's because you
Why are
haven't
you
played
here?
Battlefield.
Good question. I don't know.
Heretic. Heretic.
Where's that the Grunt heretic meme? All right.
Yeah, I
Yep.
think in general we're probably gonna start seeing kind of a slow decline in updates and info here coming up to the new year.
Yeah,
And
which is normal.
yeah, and then January is probably still gonna be quiet. I'm thinking like second week of February is when we're gonna get a huge like fire hose in the face full of updates and information on what to expect for the next year.
See,
But go ahead.
I just said we'll see.
Yeah. Well, I mean that I'm basing that off of their previous track record, so that seems to be kind of like their pattern of operation is usually the last week of December and January and at least the first week of February, they pretty much go silent, and we don't get much out of them.
Yeah. Well, we still have 316 to look forward to. Whenever it drops, probably going to drop December 24th, like it normally does with the keyboard patch. They always get it in right before Christmas, just so they can. All right, now we're going on break. See you guys. You know.
Yep. Yeah, they usually use that Christmas to New Year's time to basically just kind of let the community like experience the latest patch, and then it's usually a couple days after New Year's that they're like, okay, we got some devs back in, we're gonna start fixing some of the problems you guys had. So
it's also just holiday break for them and all. They work.
Yeah. I don't mean anything I'm saying as a negative. It's just kind of
no. It's just how it is. It is how it is. Yeah. Like we're just
okay.
We're just stuck with this patch until they can come back and fix it when the holidays are over.
Yep.
So hopefully, 316 being relatively gutted means that it's going to be a little bit more stable, especially now that the free fly and IAE are over, so you don't have to worry about all the leftover stuff from that.
Yeah, I think you'll probably start seeing better servers in the sense that. How do I put this? The context is, I think what you've been seeing for the past couple of weeks is the hype over the free flies and everything, and people buying ships. And I think this last week was still people kind of, hey, I'm going to get in and I'm going to fly that new ship around that I just bought. And then I think starting this week, you're going to see a steady decline of the number of players that are actually playing, and the servers will get smoother until the next patch drops.
Here's hoping. Here's hoping.
Has anyone heard anything about another expected Xenothreat event?
Nope. Because last time they did it, it was late.
I've heard rumors there might be some kind of event with 316.
Yeah, Jumptown, I think.
Over Christmas. But yeah, it might be Jumptown or something else. Don't know.
I think
it's
Jumptown.
I want to say I heard Scuttlebutt saying there would be an event other than Jumptown, other than Ninetales or Xenothreat, like a new event, maybe.
Remember when?
If we did, it would definitely help tide us over until 317.
That reminds me,
way back when they had those announcements coming in about the Vandal Kingship.
Yeah.
We never actually got anything out of that, so I'm curious if we'll ever see anything like that, or they just decided no, that's going to be Squadron 42 only. We're not going to do any Vandal until.
I imagine they're not going to do any Vandal until Squadron, which, if things go well, will be next year, holiday season.
Oh, dude.
Maybe.
Thank you. You just reminded me. So 2 days ago, heard a rumor. This is only the only verifiable source is coming out of Star Citizen leaks. There's been other reported sources also confirming it, but no one can actually say who it is, or it's always like my girlfriend's cousin's boss says he saw something.
Sister's nephew.
Yeah, but WikiLeaks is on record saying this is a fact. Supposedly CIG is right now going around and handpicking certain specific evocati to do to separate themselves out of the normal evocati group, and those hand selected people are going to form the core of a group that is going to play a beta version of Squadron 42. So right now it's just the selection process. No one's actually seen the beta. No one knows when they're going to play it, but supposedly the selection process is going down in evocati right now.
All right.
Which
So-
could suggest like a end of 2022 potential release. Maybe.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah,
That could be jumping the gun here a bit, but you know,
let them
give
play it. They
them
break
a
it.
year. You know, hey, you guys go and start running around, start trying to go and find all the different ways to fuck missions up, fuck progression up, do all the regular stupid player shit.
Yeah.
Go,
Possible.
crash test dummies, go!
Yep.
Well, I mean, you know, it's like it's the old QA joke where person goes and says, "Hey, QA, go test this," and it's a bar, and the person goes over to the bartender like, "I want to order a beer. I want to order 10 beers. I want to order negative 999 beers. I want to order lemonade." Okay, hey, cool. Goes out to the player base. Player goes over to the bartender. Where's the bathroom? Boom! Whole thing explodes.
Or the player gets the drink, goes, "That's not what I ordered."
Yeah. Bartender does not compute.
Yep. I only sell beer. You ordered whiskey. I gave you beer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not throwing this out there for like, oh, here it comes, like I said, this is all just rumor at this
Conjecture and
point.
rumor.
But I do think, kind of what Cam was saying, it does give us if it is true, it gives us an idea of a ballpark time frame of when we might see it, because it tells us that they are at a certain point where they think they can start to get some feedback and go in and fix things, which to me tells me they probably feel like they've got a good core module going that can be tweaked, instead of they're still in the design phase.
Yeah. Now that also too, I would expect even on the and I would hope even on like the leak server that they'll go and keep a whole lot of stuff, spoiler stuff, under wraps.
One would hope.
They-
Have you met the internet, Cam?
Oh no, you're right. But at the same point, they have at least stated before that they do want to avoid actual genuine spoilers. Stuff like, hey, there's a new ship coming. Hey, we've data mined stuff pointing out that there's going to be a new MPUV variant that does mining. Hey, we found out there's going to be new missions in the PU, stuff like that. Okay, whatever. But stuff like, hey, we found out that this event's going to happen and halfway through the story of Squadron 42 and it's going to change everything. Hold on here. Don't want to know. Now, that's not to say that people won't go and find out about this shit, but hopefully a tight lid will be kept as much as possible on that. And I expect that's part of why there is a much more curated group than just the regular evocati, because they know there's people leaking this stuff, and to a degree, like I'm sure on the PU it's not as big of a thing, but for the story, especially with the idea that the first time we see this should be when we're actually playing.
Yeah, and just speaking personally, it's funny, 'cause, like when you have a game like, for instance, Halo Infinite, right? It's releasing in 2 days from now. Like spoilers are already out. Like cinematics and cutscenes for the game are already out. Like spoilers are there. Like you can pretty much just watch it on YouTube now. And it's like, yeah, part of me is gonna know I'm not gonna be able to play this game for another 2 years anyways, because co-op campaign isn't gonna launch with the game and all that. So it's gonna be impossible to avoid spoilers for this game. But Squadron, like I don't even want to listen to some of the soundtracks for Squadron. Like I don't want to spoil myself for this thing because I'm enjoying Star Citizen. I know what CIG is capable of, and I think yes, Squadron's going to be at least very entertaining. I don't want to spoil myself for it. I want to experience things in the game as they intended.
Now, that being said, though, when, or I should maybe say if and when, but when Squadron does go and release, like, actual, hey,
Full
you
release.
can now buy Squadron 42 and play it, I think that's definitely going to be the proof of concept that a lot of you go. It's like you try talking to a lot of other gamers about it, and all you hear is the stuff from Kotaku articles parroted back. It's a scam,
Scam Citizen, yeah.
kind of stuff. And it's like, and on one hand, I don't blame people for seeing that, especially because like if you haven't looked into the development, if all you've heard is some article on it, and you're like, okay, it's just another case of a bunch of devs running away with the money, and because they are not seeing.
It's essentially like with everything else. Depends on how much you know, what your sources are, and what do you think of it.
Yeah, but once it actually does go and come out here, I think it will be that eye opener. And what I truly hope it brings to the table is not just a well-written and fun and enjoyable game that has been sorely lacking, but what I really hope we get out of it is AAA game companies going and looking at their own products and going, hey, we need to improve.
Because
this is our competition here. And now I won't say I expect this to happen. I don't.
You shouldn't.
But I can hope that other companies would go and look at it and go, hey, we need to challenge this. We need to make a product that can go and stand toe-to-toe with this. Not just throwing microtransactions in there, but actual writing, actual story, actual gameplay. That's good.
Yep. And
That's
here's the
cohesive.
thing.
That's not just a fucking money grab.
Right, and here's the thing too is if and when Squadron 42 releases, and I mean fully release, it'll also mark the first time that now CIG's making a profit. Because at the moment, however you want to look at it, the fact remains that CIG right now is just maintaining the development Star Citizen, paying their staff, everything on crowdfunding.
Yes.
When Squadron comes out, they'll have an actual product, a finished game, a work of art that they can sell and make money off of and make a profit, and actually have something that they can sell and make profit and bring in actual income. So, and not just crowdfunding. So that'll also be a big milestone there.
Oh yeah. And I also do hope, and again, I'll say this, I don't expect this to happen, but I hope that for like a year or so like after Squadron 42 actually comes out, and aside from the, of course there's going to be all kinds of bug fixes and stuff for it. There'll be some issues there that'll pop up, guarantee it. But outside of that, I would like to see maybe for just like even 6 months a focus just on PU content. And notice I say content because that being said, there's a huge amount of development going into things like Quantum, the economy simulator, things like server meshing, and all of the associated tech.
Pretty much all this back-end technology that
amount of the gameplay, or I shouldn't say gameplay, it's a huge chunk of the development that's going on. It's just making all that work. So absolutely, I can say that they're not just focusing on Squadron 42, but I would love to just see content-wise, I'd just like to see more of that kind of coming in, especially because we should be getting static server meshing next year sometime alongside Pyro.
Q2,
Q3. Supposedly, server meshing will allow for the servers to finally not be ridiculously overloaded with a single server running the entire system. And so we should be able to have a lot more depth of content, a lot more cohesiveness to it, as opposed to just, oh, okay, we'll just put this here, we'll just put this there. Like, oh, hey, we want to have, instead of there being like, what, 2 or 3 caves on a planet, we want to have dozens. Hey, we can finally support that.
I'd like to see that, but I don't think we're going to, just because Squadron 42, what we're getting is Chapter 1. There's still 2 more chapters after that we know of that are planned.
Oh, yeah.
So I think as soon as 1's out, I think they're just going to dive straight into 2. But like I said, I would like to. I agree with you. I would love
like
to
even
see.
just 6 months.
Yeah, I would love to see some concentration on the PU, but that's I honestly think that's
things
going
like,
to be
hey,
wishful thinking.
let's go and get some more bunker mission. Let's get a bunker mission with you've got a Nova tank sitting outside there with some NPCs in it. You've got a ballista out there camping the area, so you can't just fly in like you normally do. You've got some enemies patrolling around outside on foot. Hey, let me go and land my whatever, my Mercury Star Runner behind a couple hills here, move in with my Cyclone, and then start, pull out my sniper rifle and start sniping guys. Stuff like that.
Also, here's another thing for food for thought. Next year is year 9 since Kickstarter, so I think there's
No, this is year 9.
Huge. I'm sorry.
This is year 9. Next year's year 10.
Is it? Okay, so that makes it even worse. I think you're going to see a huge push from CIG to get 42 out, just because I think, kind of going back to what Cam was talking about earlier, with the way people are looking at this project and thinking about it as a
normal
vaporware,
game.
it's a scam. So I think this is the fact that it's going to hit its 10-year mark. That's kind of a psychological line that if they can get the product out before that, they keep everybody on board. But if you pass that mark and you still haven't done it, then you're kind of creating some ammunition for people to go, dude, it's been 10 years and you still haven't given us a product. What the F is going on?
That's a good point. With if next year is going to be year 10,
they need that product out.
Well, yeah, but I mean, and I would say they're probably in a good position.
Yeah,
in as much as we can judge.
Oh, I'm not saying they won't
at this point.
I'm just saying that's a it's a
no perspective.
It's
thing.
something to think about keep in the background of your thought process of what they're trying to accomplish and how like what their drive and motivations are. I'm sure that's a piece of the puzzle. Is Chris Roberts is going, I really need to get this thing out because we're hitting 10 years. Like,
why do you think he started going, screw it, I'm going to the UK and I'm going to start hammering down on some coding?
Absolutely.
That's probably why he's there.
He's putting a foot in people's ass. Like, he's, all right, guys,
including
I gave
his own
you time and I gave you money. You didn't, you haven't met my goals. Now I'm going to step in and make sure this gets done my way.
And I mean, well, and that being said, though, irregardless of anything else, I just hope that they do maintain the idea that it's ready when it's ready.
Absolutely.
So if it's
because we saw what happens when they rush it.
Don't push it.
Yeah, like here's the thing. Everyone's always like, "Oh, well, it's a scam. It's been in development for a decade or almost a decade now, right?" But then you look at games like Cyberpunk 2077, Halo Infinite. What is another game that's been in development for at least 3 years or more that they keep saying, "Oh, it's ready when it's ready," and then they rush a release date, and then you get this unfinished, half-baked product.
They were like 70,
I said
80%
Cyberpunk.
of the way there for Cyberpunk, and they just fucking fumbled it on the last stretch. If they had just pushed it back another year or so.
I mean, the devs were saying, "Hey, at least 2022." Honestly, if you ask me, it should have been delayed for another 3 years, and it should only have been on next gen and PC. because it was being developed
Well, I
for
mean,
PC,
if
and then they had to
if
go
they
port it for the
had
consoles.
if they had removed the old gen consoles, I think they would. A year would have been all they would have needed to really polish it up. Because
Not according to the
on
devs. The devs said 2022 at least.
maybe, but I mean, from what issues I saw being on PC and what issues I heard from the consoles, and yeah, devs are going to be the ones who are actually going to know, of course. But I think if
From a
the
customer
last-gen
standpoint.
consoles weren't a part of the equation, so they didn't have to, because that was primarily where all the huge critical issues were.
Yeah.
Another year of development time to go in and ease out those bugs on the next-gen consoles and the PC here. I think would have at least had them in a much better position.
Yeah, and obviously, the Cyberpunk is a good example just because this was also a game where, yes, CD Projekt Red has made open world RPGs before, but this is a different type compared to, say, The Witcher, which is really the only one that's done. Like, this is a very different type of game. It's more just, first off, it's first person. There's so many different things that they're doing compared to The Witcher. It's pretty much building a new game. And yeah, they said it was going to be ready when it's ready, and then they just decided, screw it, because we covered the expose that had.
Yep.
And it was the executives just going, we need to launch this holiday 2020. And the developers were like, no, this is not going to be ready for at least 2022.
Like, well, I don't give a fuck. Push it anyway.
Yeah, and then we got the game as it is, and
Yep.
the thing is, like, and it sucks because at least with that game, it was well written, has good characters, great characters, I'd argue. But it's just because the sad state of the game, because of the false advertising, the cut features, the stuff that they thought that they said would be in the game and then wasn't. And then obviously all the dead silence, which I hope means they're working on it. They hired modders to work on the game. Because the modders have been fixing the game more than the developers, all of Fallout 4.
Yep.
But it's just, it's a sad state for that game. But my point is, I don't want Squadron to be rushed like that. I want it, like, look, if they realize, hey, you know what, we're not going to be able to get it in 2022 as much as we want to. We can't. It's not in the state that we feel comfortable releasing it in. Then take another year or whatever time you need to get it in that state, because I think I speak for everyone when I say we don't want another rushed half-assed product.
I mean, that being said, I really think that given that we don't have a publisher here to appease, where they're going, push it,
Yeah.
that it's all being controlled in-house, that Chris Roberts, especially having seen what happened with Cyberpunk, like, there is a perfect example right there, very recent history here, of what happens if you push a game out too early. So I think, especially given that by and large CIG are all gamers, many of them have probably played Cyberpunk, probably the week it came out, you probably had a good quarter of them out sick. And I really think it's a definite lesson to them that they aren't going.
It's a warning sign of, like, hey, if you rush it out, this is what happens. Yeah. And yeah, Cyberpunk came out December 10th, 2020, so 4 days from now will be a year.
And we haven't really heard shit.
No, because I remember when the game came out and they were talking about
No Man's Sky.
They're talking about DLC and whatever, but that's the thing. I just hate that games are releasing in a state where they're, like, the off topic, but the games are releasing in a state where they're essentially alphas and they're going to be patched in later. That whole live service model, right?
Yeah.
And then CIG, at least,
but
with CIG, they have $400 million, I think even more so now, in crowdfunding. So they have a AAA game budget. They don't have the experience or resources of a AAA game. For instance, like a Halo game, right?
Yeah.
Halo Infinite.
They're about to, though, because they're growing the studio to 1,000 people.
Right, but that doesn't mean they
that's
have the
true.
tech
That's true.
resources, is what I mean. Like, for instance, they don't have for instance, with Halo Infinite Halo Infinite's using a modified version of the Halo 5 engine, which is a modified version of Halo 4, modified version of Halo Reach, and it just keeps going back to the original Blam engine that Halo CE used. My point being is that that's what I mean by resources. They have a tried and true engine that they can use to build the next game off of. CIG doesn't have that. They had to make all their stuff from scratch. They're using a modified version of the Lumberyard engine, but it's an engine that they then essentially use as a basis to modify themselves and make fit their needs. But now they have to make all the tools and stuff that they need to make the game for that engine. Whereas, say, something like 343 Industries with Halo, they can, they have everything from the last year's Halo they can just use. Now, yes, they make new models and stuff like that and update the graphics, but, you take Halo, say, obviously Halo 3 and Halo 3 ODST is not a good example, but it's a good example in that you see, it's the same, Halo ODST uses the same engine as Halo 3, same enemies, same, like, it just Halo 3, but with some different stats, some different models, and that's it. And different story and writing. So, like, they don't have that type of resources. They have to make all their stuff from scratch. In some cases, in most cases, literally.
I think we found Mando's box.
Yep.
Whereas a Halo game or a Call of Duty game or Battlefield or whatever it is, they have the previous year's game or the previous game from 3 years ago, whatever it was, to build off of. Like an Assassin's Creed game, just the same game with some differences there from the game of last year, but obviously some improvements or changes, and you have a new game. They don't have that, and the experience, no one has experience making it. So really the only thing they have is the money, but they have to make up everything else as they go. And as for the time thing, like, the money does not equate to nor compensate for time. Just because they have the money doesn't mean, they can do it. No, if they have no idea what they're doing, then they just have a bunch of money and have to figure it out as they go. So that's, I guess, a justification for why gaming development can take so long with certain projects. Like Squadron 42 and Star Citizen.
Dare you.
Well, not to mention that Squadron 42 suffered from their bad business decisions with third parties, where essentially after several years of forward movement, they had to scrap everything and start all over again. So, and realistically, while yes, we're coming up on the 10-year anniversary, as far as the actual building that game, they're
6 years.
This is year 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was 2015 or 16? I think it was 15, right?
It was 15 because I went and I started actually playing in like December of 2015, and that was when they had just like earlier that year gotten away from it just being the hangar module, and actually having the Port All-Star.
Right, but so then that was 15 when they had the new one.
It would have been like a late 2014 or early 2015.
I think that matches up so far.
Here.
But yeah, regardless, it's still a long time, but that's why.
So when are we getting a food truck?
Soon, TM.
And Daddy, you need to calm down. You're just taking up way too much of the talking time.
Yeah, I know, guys. I'm sorry for being so controversial here.
Also, I just love how, just on the topic of Scam Citizen, I mean, everyone likes calling it Scam Citizen because it's been in development for so long, and people like to ignore the fact that, hey, they're making actual progress. But we're not going to talk about that. We're talking about how they keep taking money and the game is not yet, even though they are making progress. You look at the game from 2015 to 2021, it's a completely different game. There's an actual game there now, relatively, with mining and some other things.
Media in general.
Yeah. But, it's funny because if Star Citizen is a scam, say that's true, Star Citizen is a scam, okay, then what the fuck is Halo Infinite, Battlefield 2042, Call every Call of Duty game from the last decade. Really, just any
Honest
free-to-play game.
Okay, now we got Mando riled up.
Yes, you have. The beast has
They're
awoken.
honest scams.
Awoken? Whatever. The beast is up.
He's gone woke. Run away!
Yeah, right. Can't even say that now. Fucking terminology. But yeah, like the whole. How many times have you heard of a scam that's like that starts with "it's free"?
All of them.
Exactly.
I won't say all of them, but
That's so yeah. Like the whole. That's just me ranting on free-to-play game because they ain't free.
free.
Anyways,
Yes, back
yeah,
on
I
Star
think next
Citizen.
year is going to be important for them to get Squadron 42 out.
Yes,
The original.
2022 would be a good year to get it out if they can.
A good year to die. Wait, what?
I mean, any year is a good year, I guess.
Is it? How dare you?
I mean, for the person dying.
I mean, you first.
Okay.
Well, on that note, I think I'm going to bail out on you guys here.
All right.
Don't die.
Good chat, and
Yep.
see you guys next week.
All right. See ya.
See ya.
Yep.
So, shall we move on to Battlefield 2042 then?
It sucks. Next
There
episode.
is news on that. So it's out, and it's crap. To probably no one here's surprise.
Yeah, I'm shocked. Not really.
Yeah, you played the beta, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's the release. Surprise, surprise. That's the release bill.
No, air quotes, release.
So, what did you think of the beta then? Because all those issues are still in it, and then some.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't care for the gameplay in general, but all the other issues on top of it, it is definitely a mess.
Before we went live, Cam and I were talking about how in Call Sign we were talking about how Battlefield's becoming more Call of Duty, Call of Duty's kind of becoming more Battlefields, and either way you look at it, they're both less than what Battlefield used to be.
Yeah, that's a very fair take on it. Though I don't know. I'm not sure that Call of Duty is becoming more like
Well, they have
Battlefield.
more vehicle-focused combat now compared to Battlefield. Although, from what I've heard of Battlefield 2042,
But that's just Warzone, right? They're
I think
Battle
so.
Royale mode.
Honestly, I have no freaking clue. I haven't really been following Call of Duty since Modern Warfare 3.
Because I think the latest Call of Duty game is called Vanguard, was it
Yeah,
not?
that's the yet another World War II one.
Yeah, and it plays exactly like every other Call of Duty game. I watched a little bit of Twitch stream. And,
I haven't even.
Yeah, it's exactly like every single other Call of Duty game in the last 5 years. Plays exactly the same, just has some slightly different skins, but like the way the weapons function and the way the aiming and the gameplay and the sounds, it looks basically just like a reskin to me.
I mean, that's kind of what these games are.
Yeah.
I mean, for instance, with Battlefield 2042, though, they at least have that Portal thing where you can play the older games. But I was watching, I think Angry Joe did a review, and I was watching it, and it's like, yeah, just play the older game if you still have them. Like, they have Battlefield 4 in it, right? Just play Battlefield 4; it's better. Servers are still up; you can still play it, and it's just much better. Like the destruction in Battlefield 2042, like the main game, doesn't even compare to Battlefield 4.
Yeah.
Like you see, entire buildings collapse in Battlefield 4. I'm just gonna call it Battlefield 6 for and Battlefield 6, 2042, whatever you want to call it. It like an antenna breaks and that's it.
Yeah, they don't really have any Levolution. And like the Levolution in Battlefield 4 was kind of a gimmick, but the tornado and the sandstorm that they have in 2042 is even more of
Essentially,
a gimmick. The tornado is pretty much pointless. It doesn't really do anything.
no. You see people running around and they're fine.
Yeah,
Um,
I've seen a few funny things happen, like people in some buildings, some open buildings, and when the tornado comes through, it just kind of pins them up to the wall and bounces them around inside. But other than that, it doesn't have any impact on gameplay really. And the sandstorm, it
I'll be
just
vulnerable to
gives
her. This
everything
could
a
go
horrible
spectacular.
orange shader color and makes visibility poor, and that's
yeah,
about it.
and I've heard the vehicle gameplay is completely broken.
Yeah, I'm disappointed. I want it to be better. There are um some people that are working. What's the game mode that they let you modify rules? I forget what they're calling it.
Don't know.
Uh, it I know what it is, but the name is escaping me right now. But it basically gives you a web interface with visual scripting, and you can change tons and tons of parameters for the game and how it functions. So you can. It doesn't work in conquest mode right now. I think it's only rush and team deathmatch or something like that. But there are some people out there that are working on some unique game modes that look interesting. So that has promise. And I recently heard in the news that Dice is um, moving people around. Not Dice. I'm sorry. EA is moving people around internally
Yeah,
to add
Epic.
extra studios to work specifically on Battlefield content. So I don't know. It could get better.
it could.
What
But I mean,
Battlefield game hasn't been kind of a mess when it started and just matured and got better as time went on? Battlefield 4 was the same way.
yeah, but still, I mean, you look at Battlefield 5, right? Just the most recent one, aside from Battlefield 2042, and that never got better.
Yeah.
The last Battlefield I've ever played was Battlefield 3, um, and I did play Battlefield 1. I did play Battlefield 1, but I did not like it. I thought
I
it felt
honestly
like Call of
enjoyed
Duty. It felt like I was running around. Everyone was just running around headless chicken.
I honestly enjoyed Battlefield 1 better than I enjoyed Battlefield 5.
Yes, but would you say that either of those are better than, say, Battlefield 4, 3, Bad Company 2?
They're different. I wouldn't say Battlefield 1 is Call of Duty by any stretch. It had the atmosphere of Battlefield 1 was so much better than Battlefield 5.
Well, that's because they
Just
were
the
just
music and the presentation and the way they yeah, I
they
think it
weren't
was
going for the
a
politically
fun
correct nonsense in that one.
I think it was a fun and unique game on its own. It didn't fit within what you could say you would expected from Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4. It was different, but it wasn't different in a terrible way. It did change a lot though.
So apparently, the UI for 2042 is not a very good UI design.
Yeah, I don't know what they would think with the UI. It looks terrible, like really bad.
Right now, I have a glitch compilation going on the screen right now, so you can see how bad it is.
The thing that's most disappointing to me is that there's no strategy in the Battlefield game. There's you just go wherever you want and you shoot a couple people and you die and then you rinse and repeat. It's not like you're working with teammates to try to secure an objective,
Which is
try to be
why I call it
tactical.
Call of Duty. That's kind of what the Call of Duty gameplay is.
I mean, to some extent, all the Battlefield games from Battlefield 3 onward have been that way to a degree because, well, less so with Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4 because you had in-game comms if you wanted to use them, and you even had, text chat. You don't have any VoIP in Battlefield 5, and you don't have any chat in Battlefield 5. So there's unless you're connecting with people outside of the game, there's absolutely no way to communicate with anybody about anything in
Well,
game.
in Battlefield 5, they did have chat, but they would censor it so much, they just got rid of it
Well, yeah,
originally.
and part of the reason I understand is because there's a bunch of people out there that are just toxic, and all they do
No,
is
they were
spew
censoring words like
bullshit
DLC.
in chat.
They were censoring
Yeah,
words like DLC, if I remember correctly.
yeah. I mean, they are on the kind of the woke spectrum where they're trying to filter out anything that might
Yeah,
hurt somebody's feelings, and if you do that, then you're eventually going to run out of words that you can use for anything to
right.
communicate.
I mean, look, Battlefield 5, if we're going that route, like, the entire game was politically correct World War II. It was a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, it really was, and the gameplay wasn't great, and it was Battlefield 5 went more towards Call of Duty than Battlefield 1, and then 2042 is even more towards the Call of Duty. It's all about running around. The move speed is insanely fast. It's get around quick, shoot people quick, and die quick, and then respawn, do it again.
Oh, I should
Yeah,
probably get rid of the Star Citizen.
I'm
Anymore.
glad I didn't buy
We're
it.
talking about Battlefield. But yeah, the Battlefield 2042. I'm looking at this gameplay here, and it just looks like it's a mess. Now, obviously, this is a glitch compilation, but this is like I've seen this type of gameplay in regular gameplay videos. After, like, X person doing gameplay video, and you see the game, it's just like this. The
Yeah, it's bad.
glitchy mess that looks like an alpha. Obviously, it's just like it's not releasing with the same amount of content as like previous games. Each game releasing with less and less stuff. And obviously, they have the Portal, but even in Portal system, it's a lesser version of the games you're playing, of those older games. I mean, obviously, this is EA Dice. Like, honestly, I know people they call it EA or they'll call it Dice. For the game, I call it EA Dice because to me they're one of the same. I look at all the games they've released in the past years and they're just the same BS to me. These just feel very Twitch shooter kind of. If I want a Twitch shooter, I can play like an old Call of Duty that I have from 2010.
Yeah,
I'm not even into that sort of thing anymore. I want my more, and obviously, yeah, look. Just because I'm not into Twitch shooters, other people, and that's fine. But Battlefield never was really a Twitch shooter, not in the sense of Call of Duty like it is now.
Had some of that element, but
No, I correct myself. Not in the way that it is now, like where it's Call of Duty level.
yeah, I think part of the problem with Battlefield 2042 right now is that they've made the maps so big that they're Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4 still had a way to force players into specific areas of the map. You couldn't just go wherever you wanted. It was forcing you into a confined zone, so you had to fight, and the chances of an enemy coming at you from a particular direction, I mean, you could count or figure out where that was going to happen. In Battlefield 5, with the mobility, you can land anywhere in the map pretty much. You get up on the high rise and you can go anywhere in the map. So there's absolutely no way to predict where an enemy is going to come from. It could be anywhere. So it doesn't matter whether you're trying to play tactical or not. You can't account for that. And you could do your best to try to sneak in somewhere, and somebody could just drop in behind you with a parachute. One, you're not going to hear them, and two, you're going to die before you realize they're there. So I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that kind of gameplay.
Yeah, I think in the Angry Joe review they were talking about the same thing. Like the map design is it's too big, or where most of the time you're just running to get back into the action.
I'm perfectly fine with the maps being that big, but they don't have any controls in the game to force you into a specific confrontation zone. Like Conquest, you have have control points, but there's no reason for somebody to stay at the control point after they cap it. It's just you run to this point and you maybe kill somebody and you cap the point, and then as you're running to the next point, you die and then you spawn somewhere else and go to another point, and then you die and you spawn somewhere and go to another point. It's not like a capture and hold. It's a capture and then run to another one, and everybody's doing the same thing. So it's just points constantly flipping, and you're just running from point to point, shooting at people in between. And yeah, it's
Yeah, I know a lot of people
if
have also been complaining about the voice lines and dialogue of the characters, because this Battlefield is the first Battlefield with no campaign, which is a huge thing. Like,
though they have said that, I mean, that's part of the why EA's moving people around, because they are going to work on story elements in the Battlefield 2042 universe. So
okay,
that's going to be a thing in the future, I imagine. But yeah, right now there's nothing other than if if I was in a nightmare, like stuck in a nightmare dream, what Battlefield 2042 right now in conquest mode is what that dream would be, where you just you get up, you run somewhere, you die, and then you spawn, you have to run somewhere else, and you die, and just over and over and over
Yeah.
and over.
well, that's what I mean by like the map size is too big, because that's all that happens. Like, you have to run to get back in the action, and as you're running to get back in the action, you get killed.
But I mean, there's gameplay mechanics that you can put in to focus people into certain areas, kind of like
Yes,
what Hell
but
Let Loose
are those
does,
in
where
the game?
yeah, well, like Hell Let Loose has they have very large maps, but the capture points are in specific places, and once a team captures that point, then it gets um, the next point gets advanced, and the defenders have to move back, and the attackers have to move forward. And there's still a lot of room to play around, and you can flank and do all those kinds of things, but it's not you're running all the way across the map to
From
a
the
flag
start
that's all
spawn,
the way
yeah.
in the back. Yeah.
No, I'm saying, but I
it's
don't. Is that in
focused.
Battlefield 2042? Is what I meant. Like, is that in game?
Oh no!
That's
it's
that's the
it's
thing. That's the problem. Is that it's not. You don't have that. Like,
yeah,
other
it's
games do it and
unbundled
do it
chaos.
better. That's your problem.
The other
And-
thing is, I haven't seen gameplay much from the other modes as they put them. You know, the Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, Bad Company maps. But I
Oh,
think
the
those
portal-
are only
the portal
limited
mode?
to, like, yeah, Portal's the name of it, right?
Yeah,
I think those
Battlefield
are only
Portal.
limited to like Rush and like deathmatch style.
I haven't
gameplay.
seen much
They don't have it in
gameplay,
conquest
but
mode.
also another thing is like like supposedly the writing for some like the audio, like in the audio lines and wild lines for some of the characters, like according to some of the videos I've seen, it's very like Fortnite-y apparently, where it's like essentially all the lines are very like it's like people playing soldier as opposed to actual soldiers in combat. Like all the voice lines and stuff for the characters that are in the game.
Yeah.
And it's essentially
I'm not
like
a
everything I
fan
keep
of-
hearing, and I don't mean to be, and I'm not trying to be like snarky or whatever. I'm just saying everything I hear about Battlefield 2042 is just making me go, oh, so Battlefield now knows. So Battlefield players now know how Halo players feel, like old Halo players feel, where it's like, hey, Battlefield is now Battlefield in name only, like this, like because for years since 343 has taken over Halo, a lot of Halo players like Cam and I are very much like, okay, this isn't Halo. Like, why? First off, why is this look this way? Why are characters acting this way? Look at Halo Infinite. It's a very, Apex Legends, Fortnite, very, typical AAA free-to-play shooter. But this time, it's Halo. Like, that's pretty much what it is.
Yep.
Like, now you have like a similar thing with Battlefield. Everyone's like, well, this isn't what Battlefield should be or Battlefield is. Like, huh? Just say that with Halo, and that's pretty much every Halo fan since 343 has taken over. Unfortunate, and it sucks because you can make the argument, oh, well, they're changing to match the times, and we're just the old dinosaurs, the old fogies that are aging out. But, I mean, if it's something that some things should be able to withstand the test of time, changing it just so that you can make a quick buck. That's, like, be realistic here.
Well, I don't think it's all about making a quick buck because, I mean, it's not like they didn't spend a whole bunch of money making the game in the first place.
Right, but
And they
this is
clearly
EA we're
have
talking
plans
about.
to try to support it well into the future. So uh, I don't know why the game plays the way it does. They're moving well away from the mill sim aspect that Battlefield, the older ones, um, not including Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5, had. The Battlefield 1942, Battlefield 2, and Battlefield 3, and Battlefield 4 to an extent all kind of still had that mill sim feel to them. They're supposed to be realistic in a sense, and Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5 are just complete departures from that. The run speed is it's just I hate the unrealistic. You're supposed to be jogging, but you're traveling like Usain Bolt. Doesn't make any sense, and understand why they did it for Battlefield 2042 because the maps are so big. If you were stuck running at normal, what you would consider a normal speed, you never get anywhere.
Right.
And it would require teamwork and gameplay to have people use the vehicles in an intelligent manner instead of just one person jumping in and wasting the vehicle and then everybody's
And
stuck
flying
waiting for
airboats like
respawn.
they're
You mean like all the
airplanes.
times in Battlefield 3 and 4 where you have a team of Sith loads up into the helicopter, and then the pilot goes, "Hey, this is a great sniper spot," jumps
Yeah.
out and lets the helicopter fall over the side of the building. The rest of the team going, "Ah!"
Yeah.
As you all fall to your deaths. Thanks, asshole.
Yeah.
Been there. Not bitter at all.
Yeah. They basically gutted team play out of 2042. So I don't know what they expected from that. You just get a whole bunch of people doing
They want the
whatever they want.
Fortnite crowd. They, as Amanda said, more FPS games nowadays are all about just sprint, shoot, die, sprint, shoot, die. And like I said, Rainbow Six Siege, perfect example of it. When it was going to be Rainbow Six Patriots, I was like, oh hell yeah, let's get more of this like Rainbow Six Vegas and Vegas 2 kind of stuff here. No. We're gonna just have it to where you blow through a wall, you spray some bullets, and you either live or die, and that's it. And it's all about just this instant gratification gameplay of either you win, you're like, yeah, I win, yeah, or you die and you sit there and you throw your controller through the TV and have mom and dad buy you a new one. That is the modern shooter.
Yeah, I think that's a consequence of Activision making so much money off of their yearly release of Call of Duty. There's a group of people who just buy it. It doesn't matter. It's like the sports games Mando's talked about a lot.
Yeah,
They put it out there. It doesn't do much extra or anything extra from the other Call of Duty games. And people just buy them and they play them, and it's that kind of gameplay.
It's
around
the
a corner,
yearly release. Better buy it.
Yep. And a lot of people
you
like
run quick and
Ubisoft games too, like your Assassin's Creed and what have you.
It's all about jumping and sliding and crouch canceling.
Yeah, I mean,
and
look at what
people.
happened with Halo when they implemented all those Call of Duty and Titanfall style mechanics. Because Titanfall, I feel, is what kind of popularized that, the sliding and grapples and stuff like that in FPS games. But you have Halo 4 obviously made it pretty much the Call of Duty multiplayer was Call of Duty in that game. You had loadouts and stuff like that and kill streaks. Then obviously in Halo 5 you had the Titanfall stuff with the sliding and the ground pound or whatever. It's like, and again, it's you're doing this to be relevant and to make a quick buck. Like
it's kind of like just
that's not what Halo
factor.
was.
Like other games have this in there and people seem to really like it, so let's put it in our game.
Right, but that's the thing is
there's no thought about how those decisions are going to affect the gameplay.
Right, and also the fact that that's what's new and popular. It's like, yes, but when everything is trying to be like one thing, where's the variety? Where's the difference?
Yeah.
Well, and also too, the problem is that you have a lot of companies going out there and hey, market research says battle royale is the next big thing. Put it in. We don't care if it's the game. Put it the fuck in. You have a whole lot of companies that are imitating without having any idea of why they're
Right.
imitating. It's like, you can go and be like, oh, we need to have battle royale. Okay, well, what makes up battle royale? How do you go and implement that? How are your rule sets made? What is it that makes a battle royale? We don't know. Just put it in there. Stop asking questions.
Like they
You
even
have a
added
whole
they
lot of
added one in
companies
freaking
that-
Fallout 76. The battle royale.
Exactly. Although I will say, Fallout 76's battle royale is actually halfway decent. I hate to fucking say it, to say anything about 76 is decent, but I'll give credit where credit is due. It is halfway decent. But even then, it's Bethesda or whatever like 3-man team they
Bethesda
threw on the
Softworks.
maintenance of
Game
76 here.
studio, whatever.
Yeah. Going, Brass says you got some fucking ZeniMax Brass who goes and says, hey, Battle Royale is the next biggest thing. Put Battle Royale on Fallout 76. Okay. We'll do our best. And it's like, again, with no comprehension of why do people like Battle Royale? We don't know. But what makes up a Battle Royale? We don't know. Just stop asking questions. Just throw it in there. Market study says the kids like Fortnite. Be like Fortnite. That's why you have these Halo helmets that are going through all these ridiculous styles.
Like with the
Gotta
fucking
get
snowman.
that Fortnite stuff. Okay, but why do they like it? We don't know.
Yeah, like that's the thing is like
we don't
you
care
play.
if it's Halo or not. We gotta get the money, man.
It's essentially like you have.
It's mockery.
It's mockery, but it's also it's pandering in a way because you have you used to have it where you had Halo for the Halo style gameplay, right? Where all you're doing is you're running around with a gun, like you're always able to shoot wherever you're doing. You're jumping, you can shoot. You're running around because your movement speed was pretty much a sprint jog like speed anyways at all times. Crouch, you can shoot whenever you're doing anything. That's why people don't like sprint in Halo. And then obviously you have Battlefield for the more milsim Call of Duty hybrid, right? Because it has milsim elements, but it also has your typical first-person shooter elements. So it's this way it's balancing the fun with the milsim. And then you've got Call of Duty, which is a straight-up headless chicken gameplay for your Twitch shooters. And that was the thing right there. You have 3 different games that have variety. They have different play styles and different gameplay.
Pretty much the same.
But nowadays they're all pretty similar. Halo Infinite, I have played it. The multiplayer, the gameplay is fun. And it does feel more Halo than Halo 5 and Halo 4 ever did. Well, I say that, but I've never actually sprinted in any gameplay I've done of Halo Infinite, so I can't, I know, I did, the shift is right there, but I just didn't have any wants to press it. But I was able to do alright, for my
Unlike in
Halo
Star
standards.
Citizen where you dare not press it.
Yeah. But I was able to I was able to play Halo Infinite without sprinting, so there's that. But there is still clambering that's auto, like you go near a ledge because your jump height isn't as good and all that, so you clamber onto ledges. But it's fun, but I prefer Halo 2 Anniversary multiplayer over Halo Infinite, gameplay wise. And that's just because Halo 2 Anniversary multiplayer it's Halo 2 gameplay, but in Halo 4's engine. Which you'd think wouldn't sound good, but then you have to play it and go, oh my god, this is actually really fun. Because it's just Halo 2, but more refined. I'm probably going to get a lot of people like, no, Halo 2's better. And, Halo 2 can be better. I don't know. I enjoy both, so I'm not complaining. But either way you look at it, Halo 2 and Halo 2 Anniversary are both better than Halo Infinite in terms of gameplay. Definitely more Halo, that's for sure. But I feel like the gameplay in Halo Infinite really isn't the issue this time around. Unfortunately, it's everything else. Customization, monetization, progression. There's a skin in that game that costs $20. I can buy Halo MCC in its entirety on sale for $20. That's 6 Halo games for $20. That's 1/3 of the price of the campaign for Halo Infinite. Like, that's way too much for a skin. Obviously, if I had my way, you wouldn't be monetizing skins at all. There would be no in-game monetization because you'd be charging for a flat fee like a traditional game back in the 2000s. But $60 comes with campaign, multiplayer, that's it. But nowadays, you're not buying a first-person shooter for campaign anymore like you were with old-school Call of Duty or
What
Halo.
campaign? There is no campaign in them.
Exactly. Battlefield 2042, no campaign. Call of Duty, I don't think, has inconsistently had and not had a campaign in the last 5 years, right? Like, some games didn't, some games did. On Halo, the campaign, like the multiplayer and
Clearly
campaign,
distancing themselves from the campaign.
well, they're two separate games at this point, despite what 343 and others would have you believe. They are separate games. Yes, some things in the campaign will carry over into multiplayer, so you can get some like skins and what have you from playing from playing the campaign. You can get stuff in the multiplayer, but I can play, an old, well, I think it was like one of the Lego Star Wars games. I can play one and then get stuff in the sequel because I played the first one. So, and those are two separate games. So, they're two separate games: Halo Infinite multiplayer and campaign. Which means they're charging you $60 for just a campaign, so it better be a damn good freaking campaign. I know Yongya did a review where he said the campaign, like the entirety of the story playthrough, the main story, it's open world, was like 12 hours or 15 hours, somewhere around there, which, first time playing a Halo game, that's pretty normal, despite all the advertising saying that this is going to be the longest Halo campaign ever. In other words, the more I hear about Halo Infinite, the less and less and less interested I am, let alone excited. Because the second they said free to play, I dropped off. I'm like, nope. I'll play it just to get a feel for the gameplay, and so I know what I'm talking about when I talk about it. But I dropped out. Like, I'm not, like, I haven't played it. I think I already uninstalled it just because I'm not going to play it and taking up space on the hard drive. So. And the campaign, like, that's really the only thing I care about when it comes to a Halo game. And this time around, I'm not getting good feels. Obviously, Battlefield 2042 doesn't have a campaign. Call of Duty, I think, does, but I've heard it's really crap. And not to tie us all back to Star Citizen, but everyone says Star Citizen's a scam. Again, they don't have the tried and true engine and all that and resources and experience to work off of. What's Halo, Call of Duty, and Battlefield's excuse? Battlefield's been using the Frostbite engine since, Battlefield 1, I think? Or earlier? For at least a decade. I think. I'm going to double check that real quick. But see, this is what I mean. I don't know much about Battlefield. Obviously, Call of Duty is just reskinned every year. Halo Infinite, it's still the same Halo engine that they've been using for the last decade. Actually, 2 decades now. Initial release is 2008 for the Frostbite engine. Oh, so they've been using it for a few, over a decade. Yeah, like Halo Infinite, it's a slipspace engine this time around, but that's just what they're calling the Halo Infinite engine, slipspace engine. Whereas the Halo 5 engine was the Halo 5 engine, which is still just a modified version of the Blam engine, original game. It's unfortunate because I want these games to be good, but currently with the people in charge of making these games, I don't trust them, and it seems I'm right for not trusting them because you see how these games launch. It's poor in pretty much alpha states where they're missing core features. Like Halo Infinite will be Halo multiplayer, by the way. Halo Infinite's multiplayer does not have dedicated playlists, so you cannot select what game mode you want to play. You want to play Slayer? Nope. Too bad. You can play ranked and hope that you load into just a random Slayer match. Except for the fact that Slayer isn't actually in the game yet. They'll be adding that in later. Slayer, one of a staple of the franchise, the PvP game mode of Halo. Well, you can argue that or Big Team Battle, which is in, so credit there. Because Halo 5 didn't launch with Big Team Battle, but Halo 5 did launch with Slayer and SWAT and all of Slayer's various variants of the game mode. You know what's bad when Halo 5 launched better than Halo Infinite? Halo 5 at least had, not only did it have dedicated playlists for Slayer and all their game modes that were added in later, but on launch, you actually had ranking that was based on specific game modes. So my rank in Slayer was different to my rank in Big Team Battle or Warzone, which was their like hybrid firefight PvP, so it's a PvPvE game mode, which I thought sucked. But you had dedicated ranking as well as dedicated playlists, which I thought was really good. Like, that was a cool feature. This way I'm not, like, because my skill level is probably different for Slayer than it is for Big Team Battle, so this way when I'm loading into one game mode, I'm not being loaded in with people that are, 17 times better than I am. I'm loading in with people that have the same rank as I have, so. I thought that was a neat thing. Hell, even Halo 4 had a better customization. Like, obviously Halo Reach had it better than Halo 4, but Halo 4 had a good customization compared to Halo Infinite. Hell, even Halo 5's customization was just loot box based entirely. So you want anything, new armor, helmets, vehicle skins, what have you, it was all based on boxes. Also, you can spend $100 in Halo. The store, you have to buy credits in order to buy things in the store, and you can buy up to 100 credits in one purchase. So, that's not good.
Yeah.
I blame Canada.
But my point is, like, each game's getting less and less content. Like, Halo 5, Halo Infinite's now the sequel or spin-off, whatever the fuck they're calling it now. It's the next Halo game, and it has less content than the previous Halo game. Remember, Halo 5 didn't have Forge until 2 months after the game. So December of 2015, it got Forge. And launched in October 2015. Halo Infinite launched November 15th. They're calling it a beta just so that they can mitigate any criticism about the game. They even shut down the Reddit, apparently. On one of the videos I put in the Discord, talking about they shut down the Reddit because of all the criticism. And you got Halo Infinite launched November 15th, 2021. And Forge will be coming 6 months after launch, at least. Co-op campaign, for the campaign which launches in 2 days from now, December 8th. That's not coming for another 3 months after launch, at least. Probably going to be 4, if we're being realistic. 5. These are core features that should be in the game at launch. Every other Halo game has launched with them. Even Halo 5, which didn't have split screen, but did have online co-op on launch. And Halo 5 actually never got split screen, so. Because their bullshit excuse was they wanted to have it be at 1080p and 60 frames per second. So they had to get rid of split screen for that. Halo Infinite, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Halo Infinite doesn't have split screen either. Anyway, these games are launching less and less, and they feel like alphas. They play like alphas. They're missing core gameplay features, modes, and content, which in a normal game development process, you would add these things in during an alpha phase of development, and then test it, and then you go into beta when I need to test and see how all these things work together, and smash all the bugs and all that, and then you got the game. They don't do that anymore. They call things beta, but they're really alphas, but they're releasing these alphas as though they're fully released, and they market them and even call them fully released finished products, and anything that comes after that is additional content when it's not the case. This is stuff that should have been in the game at launch. Like Battlefield 2042 doesn't have a whatchamface. It doesn't have a scoreboard. You know, like most FPS games, you press tab or whatever it is to see your score and how every other players are doing. That's not in Battlefield anymore. That's a pretty basic feature. So you can see how you're doing and how other players are doing. So you can see if someone's shooting through walls and they're racking up like 100 kills in your match, so you know, oh, that guy's cheating or something.
Yeah.
Like, no scoreboard, just a lot of features that, like, core basic features are not in these games anymore. And this is why the indie gaming market is so popular and prevalent now. Because everyone's fed up with this bullshit. They want good quality products, not the same crap, but with less stuff in it for every other year, whatever the release cycle is for some games like Battlefield and Halo. They don't. Also, I have the Battlefield 2042 update number 3 patch notes on. Let's see, they have fixed the recent player screens now include everyone from previous matches to allow easier user reporting. Made improvements for an interaction system such as open container and call elevator. Solved kaleidoscope server room lighting issue. Solved an issue related to velocity and trajectory while spawning in jets. Helicopter animation in level flybys during insertion. Addressed an issue where players killed in vehicles would fall beneath the level geometry. Improvements to streaming assets in deploy screen presentation. Just like every time a game launches nowadays, you have like these patch notes, like these patch fixes post-launch that look like something that you'd see in Star Citizen. They're alpha fix with the patch notes. Like, oh, we fixed something where you're falling through the planet surface, right? Here we're this way they're falling through the level geometry. That shouldn't be in a fully released game. But of course, they're not releasing fully released games. Releasing the buggy messes.
Yeah,
right.
Well, a lot of people think that's EA's fault for.
Honestly, I think it's both. I think it's both.
Yeah.
I think it's DICE and EA.
Yeah.
I don't think there's one or the other. I think both of them are at fault. Just like with Halo, I think 343 and Microsoft are both to blame.
Well, I don't like to lump everybody into the same basket. Like, there are developers, I'm sure, of the Battlefield franchise who knew that the game was not in a great state and
Oh, I'm sure
would
there
prefer
are,
to work on it
but
more. But I mean, if anytime you say this game was released too soon,
well, I'm blaming the
company
companies
released it
by
too
name,
soon,
not
that's putting the onus of everybody that works for that company. And
fair.
I don't think
But
that's
then
fair.
what the
That
alternative
loses
is
people.
just what, list a bunch of names of individuals that I don't know or have. Like, I'm looking at this from both a standpoint of, like, I'm looking at this from a product standpoint. You released this company A and B together released a product that is just broken and doesn't work.
Yeah.
And I agree. Like, yeah, it's not every dev's fault there. Like, I'm sure, like, same with Halo, same with Call of Duty. I'm sure there are devs that are like, hey, we were against this, but this is our job. Like, we have no say in this. Like, I'm not blaming those guys, but at the same time, like, I can't, like, you can't just, I don't know if that's the case, and I don't know every developer or whatever. I don't even know how many people they employ. So, at the end of the day, all I can go is that, okay, Company X and Company Y have released this product, and that's, so they shouldn't have released a product in this state.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. That it's not every dev's fault there, and at the same time, like, I know a lot of people are going to go like, oh no, you know, EA was the one. Like, the DICE is innocent. Like, no, they're not. You know, like, you know, a lot of, like, people defend 343 because, you know, there's 343. It's all Microsoft, greedy Microsoft. No, 343 aren't angels. You've seen this shit they've pulled since they've had Halo under their belt. Between the needless art style change and the Halo 5's loot boxes and monetization there, the unfinished state that it released in, Halo 4's gameplay. Dice's case, you got Battlefield 4, Battlefield 1, Battlefield 5, and the Star Wars games
I
released
think we
before
pretty
that.
much kicked this topic as a dead horse, and
I
beat
think
it
so.
times for-
Yeah. I'm just running through these issues right now.
What else?
Oh, they have issues for all the Portal games in here. Bad Company 2 and Battlefield 3. Apparently those were broken as well. But yeah, I think we've beat this topic to death and then some.
Stop! He's already dead.
Weekend at Dead FPS Games.
Yeah. Ah, fuck! Snowing outside again. It's snowing outside again. What the fuck?
It's snowing for you? I mean, it might be snowing
Yep.
for me, I can't tell. It's very windy and rainy.
I blame Canada.
I mean, they are north of us.
Exactly. We got any other topic?
I've seen some updates, but no, I can't really say anything on the GT stuff. Covered briefly last week, where the modders are
Yeah.
a lawsuit there.
But there's nothing really new with it.
No, there is. I just haven't kept up with it, so I don't know what is new with it. No, there is new stuff, so I figured worth mentioning for anyone possibly maybe watching. They go, oh, I can check that out. Wherever they get their sources from, aside from us. Have multiple sources is always a good.
Multiple sauces?
Sauces too.
Are you lost in the sauce?
I'm drowning in the sauce.
Rip. Hey Mando, I found a book for you. Look in the chat here.
Oh, I have that book. How to tell your your cat is plotting to kill you. I have that. I've had it for years.
They
It's
look
great.
at you. Step 1, have a cat.
Yep. I love how they use their ears to communicate with other cats across the world. That's an actual thing in that book. It's hilarious. It's like this little cartoon, like Cyanide and Happiness style, comic.
Oh boy.
But yeah, I think we're done. Unless you got anything else.
No.
No,
I do have one pretty much completely off topic thing, but it involves gaming.
Okay.
For those people who like to mod games, especially like the Bethesda games, so Skyrim Special Edition, now Anniversary Edition, as it's being called after this latest update. Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 4, Fallout 3, etc., Oblivion. There is now a thing called collections that Nexus Mods is supporting, and I have word that very soon, like within the next week or so, collections are going to start being made public for people. Now, in this very first initial run of them, so they've been in beta testing for like a couple of weeks now. In this very first initial release of them, it's only going to be a few of them. So again, there's already a decent selection of collections available, but the ones that are going to be made public very first initially here in this first release are going to be curated from those, so the most stable ones that are proven to work on the most machine, that kind of stuff. And you have to use Vortex Mod Manager to be able to install collections. Once they're at full release, so that they're past like the initial open beta of collections, they have said that they want to support APIs into like Mod Organizer 2 or other mod managers. But for now, it's only going to be a limited amount of them, and you can only install them through Vortex. But what they'll do is if you're like, hey, I want to have a pretty decently modded Skyrim that looks all pretty and has some new weapons and armors and all this kind of shit, couple button clicks and the mods get installed for you, as opposed to you actually having to go to each mod page and go, oh, I want some weapons. Let me scroll through the weapons category and find a whole bunch of random shit, and I don't know if any of it works, or if it's outdated, or if it has horrible crashes to desktop, etc. The list is already made for you. Pretty much just install it and run it, and there you go. So
That's nice, because especially since some people aren't like us, where we know what we're doing, or at least pretend to, when we're modding our games to hell and back. Mod it till it crashes, and then keep modding it.
600 mod Fallout 4 working pretty
Yeah.
decently.
Or you have, nearly 100 or so mods for Halo Master Chief Collection, and the list keeps getting longer and longer.
As it always does.
Yes. And then you start making your own, increasing the list size.
Of course. Well, like it's like in like Minecraft, where it's like, oh, you've got a million different mod packs out there. It's like, let's get the biggest mod pack I can find. Now let's get a mod that increases the amount of mods I can have. It increases the amount of block IDs that are supported by the game. Now let me go and add another 100 or 2 mods on top of the mod pack. That's pretty much where I'm at with it.
I need to eventually do is I need to try some of these Halo mods co-op though, because I just love that you can actually co-op mods with Halo. It's not bad enough that you can torture yourself with Cursed Halo. You can torture a friend too.
Woohoo!
Yeah, I think we're done. Unless you had no other
Nope,
topics. I know Activision Blizzard stuff, like apparently Xbox and Sony CEOs are kind of like getting on the train of, hey, Bobby Kotick, CEO of Activision Blizzard, you suck. You can stop doing what you're doing. Supposedly he took a pay cut recently, but obviously it's still like they haven't changed anything they're doing at Activision Blizzard. They're still doing the same toxic workplace. That's resulting in it resulted in, as far as we know, one employee suicide and some other stuff. I need to keep up with that. Looks like we're getting our way with that one. Activision Blizzard is starting to suffer a bit from it, so that's good.
So you have chosen death.
I mean, you see what the shit that we've read through that frickin' court filing that they've done, which has been for the most part confirmed. Some pretty nasty stuff. So, all right, we really need to get some kind of thing going. Higher stuff. Bye.
Exit stage left.
Now for my next impression, Jesse Owens.